Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network Weekly Wrestling Breakdown with your host, BX Sports Jedi Kev, my partner, my co-host, PGA Chris. What's up, Chris? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. It's finally back to do one of these. You know, we had Slammiversary and then we had PLEs for the whole weekend. So it's been a couple weeks since we sat here and break down the entire weeks. We got some other good news, or not good, whether you take it, but you know, we got some other stuff to talk about too. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's you know, like I said, been a while since we did one of these. So good to be back.
Right. What a rundown in the world of professional wrestling. Has been a shocking. If you're a WWE fan, with all the news, we're going to start with that. Of course, we're going to find out what kind of a ripple effect does it apply to Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA. To be honest with you, even All Elite Wrestling, it all has a ripple effect. We're going to break it down. Coming out of a SummerSlam, you can check our SummerSlam review on our YouTube channel, Sports Jedi Network. Also, please check out our website. Our web page is up, www.sportsjedinetwork.com. Salute everyone that's joining us on a Saturday afternoon, whether you're all over anywhere out and about on a beautiful Saturday in August. College football is around the corner. Football's around the corner. Preseason, all that good stuff. Wrestling, you know, right now, we're going to talk about it. Let's go right into it in the biggest news, as we have Heather Wright joining us in the chat. Good afternoon, Miss Heather, joining us here. Let's talk about the big news starting 2026, streaming in every WWE PLE premium live events will be on ESPN direct to consumer platform. Before we break down the implication, when that news comes out at 6 o'clock in the morning, I mean, that's Jedi time. You know, Jedi was already 2 hours deep in work. What was your thoughts?
As a guy who loves ESPN and who loves WWE, I thought it was cool. I wanted to hear some, but at first I was a little confused on, you know, is it a different streaming platform? Is it ESPN Plus? How is this going to work? My first initial reaction when I woke up and I got the alert on ESPN, I'm a WWE fan and I love ESPN. So I think for me, guys like me, I thought this was cool. I thought this was really cool that they were coming together.
All right. First of all, I heard it. I said worlds collide. I said, okay, now, like you said, the Sports Jedi Network, our channel here, we cover all major sports. We cover NBA basketball, could be New York City centric to the degree until football, but we're covering the major sports from basketball, baseball, football, hockey, so forth. ESPN, one-stop shop. Now wrestling is enjoyed. It sounded phenomenal. It sounded great at the moment there. And I said, I want to hear details because I was trying to listen to, while I'm at work, I'm not in my computer. I'm not nowhere near a computer. Everyone knows I'm an electrician. I'm working out on the field, building new homes. So I go to wherever I could hear the news that early in the morning. My source, I'm going to give credit to Busted Open. I went over there in the Pro Wrestling Nation to try to listen. They didn't have any ideas. They tried bringing on Brandon Thirst. They brought on some people, the right people on there. I appreciate that they move quickly to bring someone. Here's what's coming out. The deal is 5 years, $1.6 billion deal with ESPN that would drastically change the shape how wrestling fans or U.S. fans would access the big events in 2026. And they'll say, it'll be 10 events in 10 separate dates for 12 events. Of course, 2-night WrestleMania, 2-night SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, Money in the Bank, PLE. The thing was, the platform events will stream on ESPN direct to consumer service, launching in August 2025 for $30, $29.99. People are going to say, this is where I got confused. Do I have to pay another $29.99 for this? Because currently, me personally, everyone knows, if you see my background, I'm a big, of course, the channel is modeled after Star Wars, a little Star Wars Sports Jedi Network, for Jedis. I like my Marvel comics. If you look at my display in my background. My room is full of Spider-Man, Marvel, DC, big Superman enthusiasts. So I wanted to see how that affect me, Chris.
Yeah, especially with all bit, being Disney. ESPN's Disney. So that's what it is. I was confused about, what, if you have cable, all that stuff, how is it going to work? But I know a little bit more detail now, and I guess I'll share it. If you have cable and you already have ESPN, you're fine. I have YouTube TV. So I don't know but the thing is I have all the ESPN packages. I pay extra for that already. So I don't know if I'm going to already get it or if I'm going to have to pay another $30 on top of that. I'm just going to speak for me personally. As somebody who covers football, obviously everyone knows my love for the NFL. This is all if I do have to pay this $30, I'm not going to like it, of course, but I would just cancel my Peacock because I don't watch any other shows on Peacock but the WWE library. I don't even watch the shows live. I literally have the Peacock for the library. If you, again, I like Red Zone. It's going to have Red Zone. It's going to have all this stuff. So I'm just speaking for me personally. Am I going to pay the $30? Yeah. I'm gonna, because it's gonna have, if you're a fan like me of football, wrestling, you're gonna get all of that in one. I mean, for me, $30, that's a good deal for all of that. Now, let me just speak to just WWE fans. I don't think it's worth paying the whole $30 a month if you have to, if you don't get it included already with your cable or whatever you have. I think it's not worth it for just WWE. $30 a month, and you're gonna have all these NFL stuff that you really, really don't care to consume. But again, I think it's gonna change a lot, obviously, with the way the US people watch it. Look, if you don't want to pay the $30 a month, just get a VPN and you get it all through Netflix. That's just the best advice I could. I don't know how else. That's probably what people are gonna do. Everybody's talked about it already. That's probably how a lot of fans are going to consume wrestling, when this deal happens, if they don't want to pay the $30. So
See, I wish you would not say that, because now you're going to have people finding a way to crack down on that.
Everybody's already saying it, though. I'm not the only one.
I know. No, I'm not saying you doing that.
Already saying it.
I'm not saying you. I wish people would keep their mouths quiet, because now you're telling these corporations to go out there and find another way of cracking it down. And that sucks. Like, I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general, and categorize all of them. Don't say, keep it. You know it. Say there's other alternatives. I wouldn't. It was the same thing back in the day when I was in. I know Paul Heyman hates that. We had the hot box for Cablevision. You buy the box for $150, and you had all the pay-per-views. I never paid for a pay-per-view back then. It was a hot box. Grandma had the hot box. We get the hot box, and you watch it. But now, because that's obsolete. But people don't know how to keep their mouths quiet. They're telling, "Oh, we'll get a VPN." Now everybody knows. Now, guess what? Netflix already is cracking down on the passwords. Let's, God forbid, if I'm in New York City and I have my wife at home and we both want to watch a Netflix series because I'm on a business trip, we can't, because we're in two different locations. Oh, you logged in already. You're already logged in on one place. You can't log in on another, because people don't know how to keep their mouths quiet. That's just me.
No, that's a good opinion. I don't disagree with that opinion. VPNs aren't a secret. It's every major podcast has a VPN sponsor. I just think it's not something that's really secretive. I think everybody already does it. A lot of people do it. I know a lot of people that do it. So again, if they crack down on that obviously that's going to suck. But I think it's not a secret. I think everybody does it for something, whether it's pay-per-views, sports, football, like whatever it is. But I also agree with what you're saying, though, because it's so popular that they could start to crack down. But it's not a secret that exists and people are doing that. But I'm just to get off that for a second. One thing I'm also curious too, Kev, about I know we're talking about deals and all that stuff, but I want to talk a little bit about like the shows. I'm curious too. So I might have missed this. So I'm asking you, anybody in the
Yeah.
chat that might know, are we gonna get like for WrestleMania or like a SummerSlam? Are we gonna get like Sports Center there or like First Take or like Get Up or like? Are we gonna get Sports Center or like they're gonna broadcast the pre-shows on ESPN? Like, is that what's gonna happen?
Yes, that was Nick Khan mentioned that, I believe, on a podcast. I forget the name. I wanted to give them credit, so I apologize
Was it Stephanie's podcast?
No, it wasn't Stephanie.
Okay,
It was a they have a unique name that was kind of cool
Okay.
that he went on. Wanted to give them, sorry guys, I wanted to give you your proper credit. But where Nick Khan mentioned that they will be there, they'll do like kind of like college day game day type of deal.
Okay.
Coming live from WrestleMania, the site of WrestleMania, the PLEs, which is, some people will like it because that just what WWE just did. They told the world we're mainstream. We're no longer taboo. We're no longer a guilty pleasure to indulge, to watch. That wrestling, that fantasy junk, now they're mainstream. You could probably say that, you know what? WWE just leaped over NHL hockey right now in the major sports in the United States. Simple. And baseball, you were coming for you. In the words of Booker T to Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you, baseball, because baseball right now is a little bit dull with all these, and that's a whole other conversation that you can have. WWE, the way the record viewerships, the record consumption, the record attendance, and the buzz, it's on the tails of Major League Baseball right now. So wrestling is climbing, and it's not just WWE, but WWE is the forefather leading the charge, while the other wrestling promotions come on, follow Big Brother, because we're going to take you to the promised land together. So when they say now, to then, forever, and together, pretty much that's what they're doing here in North American sports, or in sports, globalized sports in general, here in 2025 when it comes to professional wrestling. Now, here's the one thing that I have a little bit of a disconnect. When the hell is Stephen A. Smith going to request to be on commentary for
it's
wrestling?
Already going to happen.
I don't want that.
You
don't know. He doesn't know shit lick about.
He leaked it already.
Sports,
he was like,
about sports, and you're going to have him talk about wrestling?
So I'm a diehard Stephen A. fan, not for wrestling. I do not want to see Stephen A. Smith in wrestling, but Stephen A. is an idol of mine when it comes to like the sports media world. He already kind of leaked it. He said on First Take with Mad Dog when they were doing what's Mad Dog mad about. He said something about, well, we know we got that WWE partnership now, and Stephen A. was like, I got some things lining up. Shh. I got some things, Stephen A. I got some things lining up for that. Paul Heyman, my guy. Shh. It's always shh. Keep it quiet, Mad Dog. And I was like, oh, Stephen A. he's gonna do commentary. That's what it is. It's gonna be him and Joe Testator, another ESPN guy. It's gonna be him and Joe Testator or some shit like that. Him and McAfee. I don't know how McAfee feels about this. Obviously, he's the ESPN guy, so he might like it, but I don't know. We could see Stephen A. Yeah, we're gonna see Stephen A. on commentary. To answer
you're enjoying it. Fine, because they got to cater to a new audience, a new audience.
I understand the diehards that won't enjoy it, though.
I understand it. I get it, but I kind of want someone who loves the business,
absolutely,
who respects it, not just there faking the funk. And he's gonna fake the shit out of the funk.
Yes.
Look, I've been watching Rad Dog Chris Russo before he was even known, back in WFAN in 1990. When he just joined Mike Francesa when they did their show, Mike and the Mad Dog, and I followed that gentleman's career. He pretty much raised me as a sports fan. Him and Mike Francesa. Chris Russo can't even pronounce the names right. So you're gonna tell me he's gonna say the names correctly of all the wrestlers and show that respect? He can't even do that to professional sports. Okay, he's gonna do that. He's gonna he's gonna make it as a joke. ESPN in the beginning, until they have a new change, or in about 5-10 years, or how long this deal is, if they renew, that's when they're going to take it as a seriousness. I think those commentators, or the talent that is currently hired right now, they're still going to treat it like a joke. And if you're a wrestling fan who wants them and they want to be mainstream, you want to be taken a little serious. But I still think they're going to be some joke pundits thrown by ESPN. But at the end of the day, WWE is going to make $1.6 billion, and we can't say anything about it. They're printing money. They're making money. They're just keep on bringing. Now, here's my thing that I want to say. My opinion. If you're going to do these PLEs and you're making this money and you're in bed with and you're charging us $29.99 if you don't have it, you don't have it. Here's what you got to do. You have to give me 7 to 8 matches, quality. Don't give me this slop of 4 or 5 matches and you're off the air. Thank you, wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. I'm not into wrestling quickies. I'm not. Some of them might have that in their sex lives, but in my wrestling consumption, I want substance. I want longevity. Let's go.
Sorry. That's well said. That's well said. Like I said, I agree with your point on the commentators, right? I watch ESPN daily. They don't take wrestling serious. Mad Dog had to get LaGreca on serious when Hulk Hogan passed away because he knew nothing about him. Hulk Hogan, and that's somebody who grew up in that era with Mad Dog. So I completely, that's my worry. Because again, as much as I love ESPN, I love these guys. I love these guys for their sports, their baseball, their basketball, the real sports. I don't want them to be involved with my wrestling. That's something I don't like about this partnership. My beauty of it was waking up it still is waking up at 8 o'clock watching Get Up, First Take. McAfee talks about WWE, but he's involved in the business. But like now it's just going to get to a point where as a wrestling fan and they're doing segments on Get Up and or First Take about wrestling, I'm sitting here like, yo, you guys know nothing about what they're doing. It's kind of, I would like, if they're going to do this, get ESPN if you're going to do segments on pro wrestling now on ESPN, Sports Center, Get Up, First Take, can you have a wrestling analyst that knows what the fuck they're doing? That's all I ask. If you want to do that, if you want to have somebody go on one of these shows and talk wrestling, can you have somebody that knows what they're talking about? Even if it's Peter Rosenberg, as much as I don't like him, as much as I can't stand that guy, get Peter Rosenberg to be your WWE analyst if you want to have that. Does that make sense? Instead of rather having like Mad Dog or like Stephen A or like a Marcus Spears talking about pro wrestling, have Peter Rosenberg. Have somebody that actually knows what they're talking about and put him in that spot.
Chris, they need to learn from their mistakes. When ESPN dabbled into boxing, they had the greatest boxing mind in Max Kellerman.
Yeah.
And then you teamed them up with Stephen A. Smith.
And
then Stephen decided he wanted to talk MMA. Oh, well, now you guys talk MMA now, Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is a boxing genius when it comes to analyzing, breaking down the sport of boxing. Then you clown them with Steve. That's my worry, ladies and gentlemen. With the Stephen A. Smith coming in there. What is he going to get mad with Wade Barrett and have Wade Barrett fired because he didn't gel with him? Because ESPN is calling the shots? That's my fear.
And you know what? Again, Stephen, I love you, dude. You're one of my, biggest influences in this sports journalist stuff. But I agree with everything Kev's saying, man. He has power. Whether he thinks he doesn't or dude, he's the golden boy of ESPN. They're paying him $20 million a year. I mean, he's the executive producer of not just First Take, but a lot of his shows. And I don't mean to get on an ESPN rant, but he had Max Kellerman fired. Just like that, because he didn't want to work with him. He said, I don't want to work with this guy. Either he's gone or I'm gone. What's ESPN going to do? Obviously keep essay. So it's tough. I hope that long story short, I hope the ESPN politicking doesn't play into the pro wrestling.
I mean, 325 million reasons a year for Stephen A. Smith to have a say. That's it.
I agree.
That's my fear.
You're not.
That's
wrong.
a fear. That's a fear. And it's not just him. And it doesn't seem like, oh, you guys are picking on Stephen A. Smith. No, there's other variables. Because here's the thing: when you have your anchors on ESPN, on Sports Center, you could tell when a analyst or an anchor or a host knows the wrestling and they pretend not to know the names or pretend not to know, and that burns the living daylights me. If you know, don't act like what's his name? You when you start gaggling, you're lying. And you could tell. At least this person here who's been on this earth for over 40 plus years could tell. And I don't, that's the I don't want to see. I want to see genuine. If you're a wrestling fan and you're on and you have a high profile on ESPN, it's okay to say you love the WWE.
Yeah.
Or professional wrestling, all elite wrestling, TNA. It's okay. Don't pretend that you don't know.
Yeah.
Or what's the guy? Don't pretend. Meanwhile, you know every you probably even subscribe to some of these people's OnlyFans, and you know so much about them. Stop it. Don't just. It's okay now. It's 2025. It's okay to say you love professional wrestling. ESPN is doing it. That's my fear. Make it look genuine. Make it look good. Listen, I'm open-minded because, like Paul Heyman said on that interview, I get it was everyone. You have to adapt and change with the times. If you don't adapt and change, you're going to stay behind. You'll be a dinosaur. You're going to get extinct. And I get it. I got it. People, a mass majority of people don't like change, and this is a change that WWE is willing to take. Look, everybody was worried about when the WWE Network went and launched for $9.99. I thought it was a good idea.
I got all the cards right here still on my wall right here.
Before Vince McMahon launched this, I used to be a big Howard Stern fan. And Howard Stern used to be on E! Channel and all that stuff. And I go, what? And I actually tried. I don't know how I reached out to Stern. I said, Stern, why don't you put your best of and all that stuff on a pay-per-view, and so we could pay and watch and don't be uncensored? Because when you're young, an adolescent back then, who the hell didn't want to see back then the stupidity that Howard Stern had with two ladies licking themselves with honey and all that crap, all that stuff? When you're adolescent, when you're immature back then, 30 plus years, you wanted to see that, right? And I was like, why don't you put it on a pay-per-view or direct to consumer where we could see all your stuff uncensored, where you don't have to be blocked and say how frustrated you are of censorship. So my point was, I wanted to see that, and when WWE Network come out, as it went hand in hand with that Stern, like, man, they should do that. But now here we are, years later. Now this is what the world has evolved. Network television looks like it's going to be obsolete, similar to the analog television. Everything, and it's just going to it just keeps evolving. We thought when Blu-ray came out, that was the greatest shit that came out. Now Blu-ray is obsolete now. Now you got to get everything. You don't even you can't buy a Blu-ray disc. And that was the best. Before it was Laserdisc. VHS, it was beta, VHS, Laserdisc, DVDs into Blu-ray. Man.
Yeah.
That was how it goes. So let's go right into it. So this is what was going to happen here with the ESPN deal. We got a whole week of wrestling to speak here. Thank you, Heather, for stopping by. We appreciate you for the conversation. Thank you for the chat. Have a great afternoon there. So let's get right into it. So we see the big, massive deal. Me personally, a long story short, Chris, this is what I got to say. I got to see what the current deal that I have right now. Right now, I subscribe for Hulu, ESPN, and Disney Plus, all that. I want to see how much if it's going to cost me more or if it's included. That's all I care about. And what's the bottom line? Because I do have DirecTV. I have DirecTV and I still paid for DirecTV, and I still get the channels. Because here's the one thing: USA Network. You need that in order to watch SmackDown and the CW. You could get your local rabbit ears, and you could get your local, and you could circumvent around the CW network. It's a local affiliate. You get some rabbit ears for $14.99. Plug it on your television, and you'll be able to get the CW network. Fine, that's all grand and then. But you still need it for USA Network, like you said, or you could do the other route with international feed from Netflix. We'll see. We'll move on for that. We'll see how that goes. I think the jury's still out with that. I still think right now everyone's going to find a negative. There's more details, and right now it's going to start off as a little bit of a negative. We're going to have to wait a couple years to see, because I understand where people get here, Chris. It's not like you could take the remote control, back channel. You have to go change your different input, find the app, log into it, and then here's the thing that pisses me off. They got to make it with all the damn passwords. You got to remember the same password, and if you wait a minute, this is the password I use for this. No, because then they want you to change it. Oh, wait, password is outdated. You need to refresh it. Then you got to, you can't use that one. You use that already. Well, then you got the two-step verification. It gets a little bit fucking annoying. Okay, it's very annoying with the 2 steps verification and all that bullshit. But meanwhile, when someone wants to break in and do things illegal to your account, they have no struggles. Meanwhile, when you just want to come in and turn on for wrestling, you got to go through your pulling teeth. That is crazy. So yeah, man. Oof. Yeah.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But I'm on the same boat as you. There'll be more details, and I pay the same package you do. So we'll see if we get it. But you have
Let's see.
DirecTV and with ESPN. So from what we know, from what I've read, I think you're fine.
I gotta check because I downgraded from I had the big baller one that was big with all the channels, stars,
Right.
all that
Oh,
crap.
I don't have that one.
And then I
don't have that.
downgraded, and I lost the ESPN. I'm like, wait a minute, how the hell
What?
downgrading? I gotta call them and argue with them because I don't really go on. Because listen, I don't really go. The thing is, cable TV only time I use cable TV, be honest with you, was for CW to watch, and now we're streaming it every time here, so I don't even turn on the DirecTV box. A&E, I even lost A&E. I'm like, that's why we haven't done any A&E watch alongs here either for LFG, because when I downgraded one package, and it's still a lot of money, I still pay a lot of money for that. It's just one before the premiere.
Yeah.
And I still lost. So I got to call and say, hey, what's going on? I should be getting ESPN. I should be getting A&E, because those are basic channels with the script. But we'll digress. We don't want to stick on that. You guys didn't hear me. You didn't come here to hear us on a Saturday to talk about our cable issues. You're here to talk about our opinions with the professional wrestling, and let's get into it. Monday Night RAW, coming off the heels of SummerSlam in New Jersey, 2-night event where, let's face it, you see our reviews. It wasn't nothing to write home about. So here's the Monday Night RAW fallout. Rollins opens up. He gets the name for his group. They're called The Vision. So now, wrestling community, are you happy now that he named his group The Vision, Chris?
Good name. The Vision, we saw it got trademarked not that long ago. They finally have a name. I think it fits them good. So, visionary, vision, I think it's cool.
And talking about his ruse of the century with his knee injury. He planned it. Heyman, beautiful. Even Becky Lynch. Only 2 people knew about it. Becky Lynch, Paul Heyman. Now they're saying a third one, which was his daughter Rue's teacher, pre-K teacher, knew about it. Which, okay, I'm gonna raise an eyebrow on that. I liked it, and we were talking about who's going to be Seth Rollins' first opponent. We mentioned a couple names. We even mentioned we hit it spot on. Out comes LA Knight to issue a challenge.
Yes.
Right person for Rollins to first feud with that world heavyweight title?
Yes and no. Yes, because they have problems, and obviously it was the match that Seth Rollins quote unquote got hurt. It was against LA Knight, and he pinned him. So yes, but we know LA Knight's not winning that first title shot off the rip and the first title defense of Seth Rollins. But they could obviously do what they do and keep the story going. So yes and no, but more yes. This was a good TV match. I think it was more surprising that he defended it right away anyway. Had a match. So I would say yes, but it's more yes and no because of LA Knight losing. Right?
Let me ask this to you. When he came out and issued the challenge, and Rollins, typical heel, said, "Not tonight here, brother." Did you fall for it? Were you taking that? Damn, actually they're gonna push it for Clash at Paris.
Yeah, because why? It's not it's unusual, but it doesn't happen often to where not just the champion defends it on Monday Night Raw, but the guy who wins the Money in the Bank defends it the next weekend, the next Monday. That's a treat. That rarely happens. So obviously we might know the predictable might be a little bit, or the outcome might be a little bit predictable, but it still makes for good TV. And again, a world title match on Monday Night Raw for your main event, always especially the way it closed out, which we'll talk about. But it was really, I liked it.
And I like that Adam Pearce, he said no, and Pearce interject himself. You lie with your medicals, and they explained it for those people that say that WWE the stories don't say nothing. They're putting shit together. It's a boring show. Hey, listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but when you don't cry wolf, though. I'll just tell you that, podcaster from New York, don't cry wolf. Because you do cry a little too much wolf. Let's face it. And that's your opinion, and we respect that, and the way you should respect other content creators' opinion. You don't have to respect my opinion because we will never meet. If we did, be a different story. That'd be But my point here's where we're going to go. I like that they tied in with Pierce says you lie to me on record with your records, with your medical. Here's a little bit of you're going to defend that title tonight here in Brooklyn in front of this large crowd against LA Knight. And I liked it because I thought they weren't going to do it. I thought typical heel, and I even said it before he even mentioned it. And the watch along, we do a watch along on our channel on the Playback Sports Jedi Network on the Playback. So please, if you want to see the wrestling action, you could come watch with us each and every wrestling event on our Playback, not on YouTube, because YouTube does not allow us to show the video footage or any, even sound. So we have a platform that allows it, that is friendly, and and we ask you to come and join and watch the show with us, and you also conversate and get in right in the chat and hear your reaction. And you know that we're not big on that reactionary podcasting, but that's another day for another. That's another issue for another time. But my point was, I even said not tonight, and he said not tonight, and I love that they set that night off. They set the night off with that group. I loved it. Awesome. But then we're wondering what's happening to CM Punk. CM Punk came out and all that stuff later, and let's go right into. I'm not going to stick too long on Monday Night Raw. We'll move on. One thing that I did wanted to mention was the Sheamus and Rusev back and forth. They're actually, obviously, they want to show us these two guys, these brutes, beating the shit out of each other throughout the whole entire night. Some people might think it was a little comical, but they're in a fight. They want to brawl anywhere, and they're going to spend the whole show beating each other up throughout the whole night. Locker room. Even Sami Zayn got punched in the mouth, which is going to leave for Rusev and Sami Zayn later on Monday Night Raw. This coming up on the 11th. Your thoughts on the Rusev and Sheamus? I didn't like it at first. I was like, now it's starting to intrigue me because they're seasoning it.
They work really good together. They're best friends outside of all this wrestling stuff. I even think they're neighbors. So they know how to work together. I would like to see them maybe tag in the future. After all this is done. But no, solid. It's becoming a solid feud on the show that doesn't involve any titles or any serious implications to a story. It's just two guys that are really good at beating the shit out of people that want to beat the shit out of each other. So I like what they're doing. I would like to see them be a tag team.
Did you like the double count out? Because it kind of made sense. They were brawling.
It made sense, yeah.
When they got to the 10 count, kind of slipped off the apron where they couldn't get back in the ring.
It was kind of like Steve Macklin this week on Impact, which we'll talk about obviously later. But that's kind of how it was. Two guys fighting outside, and then obviously they don't care about the 10 count. They just want to beat up each other. So that's kind of what it was. All
right, love it. We got to see Penta defeat Grayson Waller, but I think what was talked about in that Penta Grayson Waller match was that funny ass hat that Penta put on from David Woods. The New Day come out still in mourning for losing their tag titles and all in black, but that goofy hat it's gone viral. It's gone all over. If you're on social media, you see how goofy that hat was, and that was fun to see. Your thoughts on that? It was a quick match. It made a story. There's a story with Grayson Waller. Is he going to be part of or endeared himself to the New Day? And does the New Day seem like they don't want a third man? They got rid of Biggie and they wanted them too, and they're back to the wall. Also, Austin Theory was taken off the active roster and put into the inactive. Doesn't mean that he's out of the company. Maybe there's an injury that is severe or disease or an illness. I don't know. I don't know if this is facts. But I don't think he's out of the WWE, Chris. I think he's so uber talented. I think they're holding on. I think there is something legit there with Austin Theory.
Yeah, it could be. But again, this was a quick match. It was funny that Penta wore the hat. We'll see where this kind of goes. I mean, they've been mourning over the loss of their titles for a couple weeks now. So let's get the ball rolling a little bit more instead of doing this thing. But I think it's cool to see where it goes. And with Theory, yeah, I got no idea what's going on with Theory. I saw that. But I have no idea. You could be right though. It just could be something to where he's not able to work.
Here's the one that kind of scratched my head. They kind of rushed this back. I wish they would have prolonged it or done something different. I wish what we saw last night on SmackDown was done on Raw, and maybe tonight this vice versa switch of the events. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss taking on the former champions Raquel and Roxanne, but in a non-disqualification match. So I'm like, you're putting a no disqualification where on Monday Night Raw, the Judgment Day is there by numbers with Dominic Mysterio, so forth, Finn and McDonough. It made me worry, like, okay, it's just a 24-hour thing with Alexa and Charlotte, but oh no, they retain in the match. I thought that whatever they did last night which would have made more sense. But I guess they're doing it for the cheap pop of the crowd. It should have been the Raw, because Chelsea I thought was Raw. No, she's SmackDown. No, she's SmackDown. She's SmackDown. You're correct.
Yeah.
It confused me.
Rumors are having it though. There's going to be what are we? October and August 9th. I heard that, I don't know if it's confirmed or anything, but I saw something that maybe we might get a draft in September. So maybe they're kind of shaking things up right now to see who would, for the draft. I don't know, because it kind of Chelsea's not the only one, right? It's a lot of people kind of going from Raw and SmackDown around.
They're jumping brands a lot, but I know that this is an oxymoron that burns a lot of wrestling fans or wrestling. And they have specific brand titles, but the talents are able to jump from title to title. This is the only way I could equate it to when it comes to UFC fighting. There's all different types of title with weight classes.
Yep.
And if you go up a weight class, you could contend for another title. The same fighter could contend, even boxing. If you go up a weight class, that's the only way I'm going to try to compare and grasp in my mind that the talents could go challenge for other titles on different brands, because they don't have to change weight, but they could change brand for a moment to challenge. That's the only way I'm going to create. I'm going to try to make it make sense. Yep. Some people have a hard time grasping. If he's a SmackDown wrestler, he should only be on SmackDown, and yada yada, vice versa. You have a point to a degree, but think of it, when they try to, because I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, and you could disagree with me. I'm going to equivalent it to a boxer or a fighter moving up class to another weight class to try to take on that champion of that different weight class. That's all I'm going to say. I think that's the way I'm going to try to equivalent it on it. But let's go to another one. Speaking of weight class, we got Dominic Mysterio taking on Dragon Lee. We know that they're setting up for Triple Mania next Saturday. He's going to be in that mega championship. Also, Dragon Lee is going to be in there, Grande Americano, as well as the champion Hijo de Vikingo. Now we get three more Americanos. Your thoughts?
They got to play this story out to the best they can with El Grande America, with actually Chad Gable not being there. So it's hard to, obviously we know Chad Gable's El Grande Americano, and we know it's Lil Wick or Pete Dunne, or whoever it is, but they're trying to set up for AAA. Dominic with Dragon Lee and El Grande Americano. And they're doing it. They're doing a good job. They kind of done that. They've used Monday Night Raw or other shows that WWE does to build for other, like AAA Worlds Collide. They used NXT, and they used a lot of shows to build up for that show. So that's kind of like what they're doing right now. Is building up for that show. And I like it. I think Dom hopefully wins the show. I actually thought that card was tonight. So thanks for reminding me that it was next weekend. I actually thought that was tonight. But no, it's going to be a good one. Again, the El Grande Americano situation is hard with Chad being out, but I think it's going to be a good match with hopefully Dom capturing the AAA Mega Championship.
It could be there. That's possibility there. We're doing a little bit of Raw recap. Those that are watching us and joining us here, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment on the video or comment in the chat. We read everyone. As you see, we acknowledge everyone's chat. We don't ignore it. We don't tell you to get lost and block you, or if you disagree with us, we're not going to get mad and curse or belittle you. We'll just have a debate or ignore you, but we'll still encourage you to write the chat, and we'll thank you. And we're not going to hit the block. We're not one of those that run to hit a block button. We do rebuttal, and we'll have a debate. That's what it's all about. So please give us that opportunity and let us entertain you. At least this Bronx boy doesn't hide and doesn't behind the block button. All right, so we'll move on here. I like the fact that the Grande Americanos, like you said, well said, with the putting over those other shows like Triple Mania and so forth. I like it. What's going on, Anthony? Anthony is in the chat. What's going on, Mr. Anthony?
What up,
Let's talk about something that was hot. And I know people roll their eyes when she returned. Nikki Bella interrupts Becky Lynch. Well, Becky Lynch now talked about that, Lyra is not going to wrestle no more for the title. That's out of the question. But a new contender in Nikki Bella. I know people's like, why Nikki? At the beginning, I'm not going to lie, when she first was announced to go in there, it's like I said the same thing. Why Nikki Bella? She just came back. But by the end of that segment, I got to give kudos to both. I felt bad for Nikki Bella, but I give kudos to both ladies. That segment was fire, Chris. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit too anytime I see Nikki Bella. But this was good. She takes those John Cena uh insults like a champ. I'll give her all the respect in the world for that, with all the bullshit outside that us fans got to see from the reality shows. Her recent problems or relationship was just exposed all over online. So I'm happy. I respect her a lot for, taking those shots because those are personal and but that crowd made that really really and really cool. They popped after that. I wouldn't mind a Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch feud. My whole thing for the Intercontinental Championship was to build it around people like Lyra, but they want to make that title maybe mean a little bit more. And obviously, Becky's one of the big stars on there, so you could throw her in there. Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch is a high profile match just by off the names alone. With the championship implication makes it mean more. So, and Nikki Bella, I kind of thought it was just one of those things where she was just going to be there for Evolution because she was supposed to fight Liv. Maybe she's there, and they want to relive that out. So until Liv gets back, she's gonna get these, practice all these reps under her belt, right? Feuds under her belt. Not under her belt, like she doesn't have experience, but she's been gone for a while with injuries and all that stuff. So this is good for Nikki Bella as well. Get into some big matchups, not just make appearances. Get into a story with somebody. And I don't know. I thought she was just gonna be a kind of a one and done type of thing. Maybe that was the case, maybe that wasn't, but she's trying to make a full-time thing. So I'm gonna see where it goes with it. But I think her and Becky, they won't have a bad match.
No, and Becky has declared herself the gatekeeper of the women's intercontinental title, which is a good thing. She's getting prestige and elevating that women's intercontinental title. What's needed, and I love that she's there. And I like the fact that like we said, when Nikki Bella interrupted her and made that surprise, at first we rolled our eyes, but then it quickly, I loved how she quickly came in and Becky's accomplishment. Said that she turned into heel. She's still that insecure little girl. Took a jab at her role at Happy Gilmore, and back and forth. I love the fact that she called her a liar, but then and talked about not like her husband Seth, and she says, "Wait a minute, me and my hot husband are the greatest wrestling couple of all time." But wait a minute, at one point, weren't you and yours? And then I love how she emphasized and paused. Oh wait. You can't see him anymore. And she did the gesture, which insinuates the John Cena erotic "you can't see me" gesture. I love how the crowd erupted and the chant, the gasp in the arena. Some people say they watch wrestling with their ears. Well, you heard a lot when that came there. And of course, you saw the face on Nikki Bella like, oh shit, I can't. She looked in the crowd. I can't rebuttal that. I don't have nothing. You that was a mic drop. And but I loved, and some people say it was a little over the top. You know what got me more invested? Nikki Bella was so shocked, and she not only got punched in the face with words, also got sucker punched by Becky Lynch. Boom, loved it.
Mm-hmm. I loved it. Like I said, they're gonna make it. They're gonna make it good. They're gonna make it more now that there's a championship implication, and I think the names of the ladies will sell itself.
Yes, and I believe that's going to be overseas. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be Clash at the Castle, Clash at Paris. Excuse me. I keep that's by force of habit calling it the Castle, but it's Clash at Paris. Yeah. So that's out of force. Let's go right into the main event. We have the Shula Fala, the tribal thief. How do you like that one, by the way? I love that. Paul Heyman.
That's
cool.
Loved it. I like that. I liked it.
I loved it. You have LA Knight taking on Seth freaking Rollins. The match, really good match. These two guys, I got to give them credit. LA Knight, Roman Reigns, even the Saturday Night main event before the injury. And I know a lot of people are at least busted open on Monday. Had a lot to say about LA Knight. He's a catchphrase. He's overborn. The bell rings. He thinks the higher ups don't see anything spectacular in LA Knight's wrestling game. There's some truth to that to a degree. I agree to a degree, but he have had the opportunity. And he still, if he wasn't that, he was that terrible. People will still not be on the LA Knight, the yeah movement with LA Knight. That would have been fizzled off ever since Saudi when he fought Roman Reigns in that main event. I still think they still love him. They still want more of LA Knight. The crowd wants to see him. Everybody wants to see. That's the same stereotype that Jey Uso gets in this day of age when the baby faces they want to go quickly. Oh, they're just an entrance. They can't wrestle. And the same thing with Cena. To me, that's a lazy stereotypical take when it comes to a uber babyface wrestler. The same thing was with Braun Breaker in NXT. Oh, he's just a bark, yark, bark, and now you see the love fest that they have for Braun as a heel. I think that's just a lazy take in this modern day of wrestling fandom. If they're over babyface, you have nothing good to say. You just could say, "Oh, he's just an entrance, and he can't go in the ring. He can't grab." Chris, and I'm starting to get a little frustrated with that.
Yeah, I could he's been wrestling for a while. I watched him since he was before in WWE with Impact. So
Eli Drake,
yes. He worked with Scott Steiner and the LAX against Santana and Ortiz. So that was kind of like my first introduction to him, and I always thought he was good in the ring. And people I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't called him just a catchphrase. When he, maybe last year, but since this 2025's kind of opened up my eye a little bit for LA Knight. I kind of get why people like him. But he's good in the ring. I don't think he has bad matches. Even inside the ring, I think him and Jacob was good at WrestleMania. I thought him and Roman was good when they did it in Saudi. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had some good matches with high level talent. So we shouldn't be questioning why LA Knight is in a match like this because he's done it. He's been there. And he'll win it eventually. He'll win. He'll get that title eventually. I just don't think it's going to be this year, maybe even the beginning of next year. But he will get that title shot and he'll win it.
Here's the issue. He's in the 40s. There's nothing wrong. No ageism. I don't want to seem like
right.
Time is kind of running short on Knight. So, but I asked this question, wrestling fans that are listening to us. Does LA, everyone says, oh, he doesn't need a title gold. He's over. Does LA Knight need the title in your opinion, your eyes? Comment. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think LA Knight as an attraction, does he really need a title? There's guys that don't need it because you just want to see their matches. So I wonder if he falls into that. But maybe if one title run helps him become that attraction because he was former world champion.
That's what it is. That's what I was going to say. I think just having the former world championship under your belt alone, not just for the uncommon or for the diehard wrestling fans like us, but if you want this guy to do media or former WWE champion LA Knight joining, former WWE champ, like I don't know. I think it looks better, and I think people might actually want to. I think he'll have more meaningful matches and stuff. I'm not saying he didn't when he was U.S. champ, but when you're a world champion, you're the priority. At least you should be on your respective brand. You should be the guy that is carrying that show at the top. So just by his reactions and his fandom alone, he's been doing that. So I could see why some people think he doesn't, but I think storyline wise and his level of having better quality matches, I think he could do that with the world title. I think it just sounds better for the resume, but that's why it's tough. He does, but he doesn't. But overall, I think he should have at least one decent run to build him up more as a legit star, people can take him serious as a wrestler.
Fair enough. Very well said. Very well assessment. I like your opinion. I really do like your opinion on that. Again, good job there. And let's pick back up to the wrestling match. They have that match. It was a quick match. To be honest with you, they started off pretty quick. If you thought Rollins really was a little banged up, he didn't show with that. It was quickly. I love the fact that the moves were crisp between those two, but we all knew it was hard hitting. What was going to happen, how they were going to get to a finish. It was predictable to a degree. We thought, if LA Knight would have got pinned on Monday Night Raw, what happens to LA Knight momentum? He gets pinned. One way to protecting him, out comes CM Punk. CM Punk is blinded by total rage, irate, pissed off that he was cashed in on a ruse. Only 5-minute title reign where the pictures show, Punk almost, breaking down emotionally, holding that heavyweight title, in WWE. No one thought that, 10 years ago when he walked out here, we ever come back and hold WWE gold. He's holding that moment. I think Rhea Ripley tweeted out, this is unfair. This should, some I'm paraphrasing. Some it's unfair. I wish that moment could stay still forever with Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk, holding it. I felt happy for him holding that title too, regardless of the fact and I wasn't a Punk fan to begin with, and now his return and what he went through in All Elite, I became a fan of Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk. But I felt happy for him, and I felt this pain, and I felt where he could be, where it makes sense. He was blinded. The disqualification, CM Punk breaks it up. LA Knight's not happy. We'll see if you looked at the footage afterwards. But out comes the Vision. The whole group beats up on Punk, beats up on LA Knight. They're leaving with a triumphant on top, but then we hear the tribal chief music. OTC comes out. I'm like, we thought they were going to go off the air. No, they extended it. OTC comes out. Of course, he comes out, try to clean house, but the heels at the end of the day goes over. 3 tsunamis by Bronson Reed, takes his shoes again. The tribal thief steals the shoes. Off the air they go. Some people think that Roman might get written off television. But now they spoil it. If you look at their social media, he's going to be in Paris. So it looks like it's going to hit into a 6-man tag where Roman could coexist with Punk and LA Knight taking on the Vision. Or some say they could even put Jey Uso if Roman Reigns isn't going to go to. But you have to make, unless if Jey is going to avenge the tsunamis given to Roman Reigns. That's the way you can make sense if you're going to add Jey Uso if Roman doesn't want to go or is not contractually obligated to go to Paris. Either way, it's going to look like a 6-man tag, Chris. Mm-hmm. I got a theory when it coming out of that, but do you like that build up? I like it because it prolongs the story.
Yep, and it gives it could also set to where you could have like Seth Rollins. Like if Roman's not going to be there long term to have another title shot, you could also do like Seth versus Punk versus LA Knight if you really want to. Again, I think CM Punk is on the mindset to LA Knight, like it's not personal. It's not personal with you, it's personal with him. But I think LA Knight might feel some type of way of, still getting involved in this match. So it's just a basic way to build up a triple threat, which I think will happen in the future.
Chris, the baby faces, these 3 baby faces that are going to try to team up and see if they coexist, they all have interacting stories with one another.
Yes.
Roman at the Royal Rumble was eliminated and by Punk, and he says, wait a minute, we just teamed up couple months ago, and you're and then he got curb stomped, led to him keeping his guard down, curb stomped by Seth Rollins because of Punk's eliminating him. There's heat there. Also, the favor with Paul Heyman double swerve going at WrestleMania for Punk, and then turning on Punk. That's heat between those two. LA Knight getting interfered with CM Punk not allowing him to get his title shot, knowing that his time is ticking. And now, I have a title shot and you cause me an interference, an opportunity wasted. To me, I have a theory. I think what's going to help a little bit of LA Knight get to that next level, I think he turns heel. I think he joins Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, become that 4th man. Remember, they got to build for War Games. I wouldn't be surprised if it is LA Knight turning heel, and he's going to feud with Punk, because I think Rollins and Punk, to me, is a WrestleMania. And how they have to try to stall. And WrestleMania is a long time. It's short, but still months of programming, weeks of television that you have to build. So if you go with the LA Knight Punk route here going forward, it buys time for the Rollins and Punk for that title later down the road at WrestleMania. And I think that's the way they should try to go. I don't know if they'll go that route, but we'll see how that goes there. All in all, I thought Monday Night Raw was the ending was good. The beginning was hot. The Becky Lynch stuff, it was a roller coaster. It had its ups and downs. It had its high tides and low tides. If you're a seaman, navigating. And it just had that type of deal for Monday Night Raw. So that's the Raw. Let's go right into NXT. Now, I'm going to be totally honest. Everyone knows I live in Orlando, Florida. I am biased when it comes to the NXT show. I love NXT. Had the opportunity to go to the Performance Center, be there, all that stuff. This NXT was not one of the best television NXT has given, at least in the CW network era. I thought it was a little underwhelming, Chris. I'm going to be totally sugarcoat. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm going to be totally brutally honest.
No, I agree. Yeah, there wasn't much on NXT that I really, first off, remember. And that was really that great. And I hate to say that because obviously we love NXT. We watch it every week on our watch longs, but nothing really happened to where I remember what happened in the show. And
let me give you a quick breakdown so I can recall your memory, and then we'll react, Chris.
Okay,
let me give you a breakdown. You have Kalani Jordan defeating Blake Monroe via countout because she went running out because Jordan Grace came, and they had happened, and Bubba Ray had a hard time having a black suburban waiting for Blake Monroe, waiting for her for no reason. Well, it was Blake deciding not to take a shower at the Performance Center where she's going to get right there all sweaty and smelly, into the car and go home. I know it's not that far where she lives from the Performance Center, but I know he had a problem with that. Okay. I'll give you some of the matches as well. You had Hank and Tank taking on Chase U. Okay. Yeah. Miles Bourne over Alexis King. Okay. Yeah. Nia Jax returns. Now, this is where I had an issue. Not the fact that Nia and Dia could wrestle. Dia could go. I really like Dia Hale, but there was no really a build. They try to shoehorn it that it was on a social media post that Dia went on, because she does a review of coffee. She runs around Orlando drinking coffee and all that stuff. And she talked bad about Nia and they decided to make a match. It wasn't a great build. Nia versus Dia Hale. Then you had Stax taking on Yoshi Imamura, where a little bit of a turn, where they blurred a little bit of reality into the professional wrestling scene. We'll mention about that there. And then you have Sol Ruka taking on Tatum Paxley for that women North American title. Now, out of all those things there, it wasn't and also don't let me bury the lead. You had a summit where you had all four strong number one contenders for both TNA World Title and NXT World Title, and those that complain about Triple H and WWE not pushing the African American black men, you had the best four of the top black men in professional wrestling in that ring with Javon Evans, Obafemi, Moose, Trick Williams. But Dark State, once you see that, it takes you, it sucks the enthusiasm and the momentum. They're not resonating. They're not hitting right now. And that killed that segment. Yeah.
So now that you say that, I remember, because that's Joe. The only thing that people really remembered from the show, right, was Joe Hendry coming out of that fridge.
That's another one.
That's another one, right? I like the Moose and Obafemi, Javon Evans stuff. It's a little repetitive. Especially when it's Oba, Trick, and Javon. That Moose kind of saved it to me. Yes. But it's like, how many freaking times are we going to see these three guys go at it? I'm happy Moose was there, not just to make it something different, but also TNA representation. Because when we interviewed Nick Nemeth, he straight up told us he can't stand the fact that a TNA title is on a WWE wrestler. I can't stand the fact that what I saw before Moose came out was the fact that two WWE guys were out there trying to chase the world title, talking about uniting them both, the TNA title. No. So I was happy Moose came out and kind of saved that. But again, that is so repetitive with those three. Thea Hale and Nia, we knew Nia was going to get that win. I think they're just building her up on NXT for her and Lash.
Which the main event, a hell of a job.
And she did, right? The main event with Paxley and Soul, I thought maybe something would happen with Zarya or something like that, but I don't think we're getting to that point soon. But it was a good match for Tatum to be in a big spot, and she hasn't been there in a single spot in a long time, so it was good for her. But other than that, No, I agree. I didn't care about the Stacks and Horomura match, whatever. I didn't really, it didn't really resent. Or in the Kalani and Blake Monroe, it was an okay match. You know, Blake Monroe get some. You know, that was really her first TV opponent. So,
No one
singles.
got pinned there though.
So
Neither
no
one got pinned
there. So
yeah.
other than that, I got not much on NXT. It was alright.
Here's the one thing from the Uemura with Stacks. Now they're not holding punches and keeping the secret that Stacks and Adriana Grace are a couple. That's what we got on that television. They blew the line. They blur the line of reality into professional wrestling. They live together, yada, yada, yada. They brought that into the wrestling world now. We now know that. Stacks is with Adriana, blah, blah, blah. She admires him. Now it's on television screen. And Briggs still don't like him more. That's leading to a grudge match between them two. When it comes to the NXT and also Hank and Tank beating Chase U, Dark State interrupts. So Dark State is sticking their nose in a lot of different business, writing checks that they don't have funds to people to cash in, and you don't because we and I mean the funds that we don't care about them. We're not invested in them. We don't. There's something missing with them because if I would have loved to say they're irate, they're pissed off because they were being featured on Level Up and they took it away and they're angry that they were disrespected for LFG. But then you can't say that because Cutler James was on LFG doing stupidity there too. So I was like, they kind of, and I think that's where Dark State we can't get emotionally invested in because they do have a reason to be angry as a group of men together because their development show got pulled off, which was Level Up. But they never incorporated that in the story. And I think it's a little too late to say that. If they would have went with that Level Up held overs, pissed off, in their mission statement, we were being showcased there, and then you took the plug. Where are we going to get showcased? We're going to take it out. The level of disrespect is to the, we're going to take it out on everyone from everywhere, from TNA. You emphasize TNA. The heck, I will have them interfere in LFG. It's a fucking scripted anyway. The LFG show. Oh, they want to make it real or somehow. They scripted. Come on, it's all fucking scripted. It's all scripted nonsense on A&E. They should have but they put Cutler James as a participant. That was kind of dumb. But I digress. I think that's where and when it comes to again, it's the same three: Javon, Trick, and Oba. Like, and are we setting up for a fatal 4-way again? Like, this is the thing that I have a trouble. Trick, you're awesome, dude. You're a nice dude, great guy. Your wrestling career is multi-man matches. When are you going to have make your title reigns feel so special one-on-one matches? Beat your opponent one-on-one. Why do we need the convoluted triple threat, fatal 4-way, everyone and their mother to wrestle? You need to start when you go to the main roster, guy. You're going to be wrestling one-on-one. You're not going to have multi-man matches on the main roster. You got to show us something. Heck, you want to put again Moose. That was like, I'm you know what? I got to be thankful they didn't throw in Leon Slater because I've been joking around and kidding around. Oh, Javon is going to take that X Division title from Leon Slater. And I hope not. I'm just joking. I mean, I say it as tongue in cheek, but man, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at this point, wouldn't be surprised one bit. We'll get to TNA because we have a theory coming up with TNA in a few minutes. But my point is that NXT, and I love NXT. You know that. I try to talk. I got to say, this was a very underwhelming show where they do better. Joe Henry coming out of the refrigerator, that was cool because it set up a match with Charlie Dempsey. That was funny. I popped with that because you didn't expect Joe Henry to come out of the refrigerator. And Ren, they have to continue to use more of Ren. Ren is a very important wrestler who they're wasting her talent doing this stuff. She could go in the ring in her independent scene out in Texas. This young lady is really good. They have a gem there. I don't know why they're holding her back, why they're not showing her, showcasing her, or at least get her some TNA run as well. Get her some TV time on TNA then, because that girl is talented. Ren Sinclair is very talented. They're wasting her talents. And when they get released, the fake outrage. Well, before the fake outrage, this gentleman here is saying, use Ren Sinclair. There's something there with her. There's talent in that young lady. That's just me. All in all, this was not a real. I'm not going to speak too much. I've said this time again, maybe because we're fans of him. What's the problem of putting Obafemi versus Mike Santana? for Heat Wave? What are you scared of, WWE? What are you scared of? Your Obafemi's gonna get exposed? Maybe he could go on the podcast with Roche Jackson and talk a little more. Yeah. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Obafemi, Mike Santana. What are you afraid of? Why do it have to be the same recycle stuff? And what's going on with Alexis King? Is he not in? I don't know what's going on in the performance center with the coaches. Why is this guy not? Why is he losing now? All this losiness. Where's the loose cannon coming up? We're waiting for that loose cannon or Alexis King. He needs to already pull the trigger on him becoming a loose cannon, a menace. They've kind of like stuck on neutral. I don't know if it's because the team. They're trying to get emergence over and waiting for the TV deal for TNA to build some storylines. I don't know, but it feels like the NXT now is starting to stay stuck on neutral. And I know, look, it's 52 weeks a week, and they have to and they go on live all the time. They gotta, sometimes you get some lows, but NXT, I expect a little more hotter, better. They have a big amount of talented roster there. They could incorporate fresh storylines, but it feels like the men's title picture is a little stale.
Yeah.
We need something.
I agree. Well said.
We need something. All right, let's go right into Wednesday. Wednesday, Dynamite. Now, Dynamite had a nice bump in their ratings. They had a really nice bump in the ratings. Over 700,000 people watch. Hey, we got to give, let's talk about the positive because they get a lot of negative thrown their way. Let's talk a little bit some positivity. They got a nice bump of people watching their program. The big stories coming out of there is MJF, Mark Briscoe. They're building Mark Briscoe now, regardless of the fact, we might think, some of them might think, it's a pity party because of the brother of what other stuff. Mark Briscoe now is at least being featured on television. People complain about All Elite Wrestling not building new stars or, you got to build new stars. Well, they're trying to with a Mark Briscoe. You got to give patience. You can't go on there and then shit on them and say they don't build new stars, but when they're trying to, you poo it, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Briscoe and MJF. That I like that one. That was a good match. Obviously, best heel in the company with one of the best likable faces in Mark. Again, the match was okay. I don't like them being outside of the ring for so long. But other than that, it's a good way to get MJF heat to set up for him and Hangman. Which look. I don't. Before I get into that, it's going to set up him and Hangman next week for a face-to-face. Now, a little bit about this show. The only thing that really surprised me, or the only thing is Brody King and Bandito got a clean win over the Young Bucks. Swerve Strickland's building up a match for Okada.
Okay.
That's the only thing cool that came out of this show. I liked obviously the Kyle Fletcher celebration. Not liked it, but I thought it was good heel work. But this show just the Dynamite doesn't flow with me. It hasn't gone good with me recently. And I know some people in the chat last week thought, thinks I'm an AEW hater. I'm actually one of the people that would glaze AEW all the time. But I'm now starting to realize I'm at the point where I just want to watch their week or their pay-per-views. Their weekly shows to me don't do anything to build up for the pay-per-views, first off, which is what you're supposed to do. A lot of the things don't really go anywhere. Like, despite Bandito, why are we doing elimination tournament matches again? With Bandito, and we're doing tag team tournaments. Why? We want to get the titles off the Hurt Syndicate because of all the MVP shit going on? Like, I don't know. Why are we doing tag team eliminator matches? I don't understand. Mike Bailey and Mox, okay, cool. It's a cool way to set up Darby because of what, he comes out and messes with Yuta and whatever. But again, the pay-per-views are where it's at to me with this company. I don't want to see another. We saw a Fatal 4 match with Alex Windsor, who's the spouse of Will Ospreay, Sky Blue, Queen Amadada, and Billy Starks. It wasn't a good match. It was a good match.
That was bad.
That was horrible. Sky Blue totally made herself look. She embarrassed herself. And they want to push Alex Windsor because obviously Will Ospreay. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that's not happening because who the hell is she and why is she coming here and automatically getting these wins and being pushed? Gee, I wonder why.
Flavor of the month syndrome.
I wonder why. And, and then again, where I don't know, man. It's they're trying to build up for Forbidden Door, but it's like it's I'm not really digging it. Like Mercedes walks out with her 8 fucking titles, gets in her face and holds up the TBS title. We're doing that already. You're pushing Alex Windsor and you're already having her go face to face with Mercedes. Dude, she's going to get squashed and you're going to forget about her in 2 weeks. I don't like the shit that this company does on Wednesday nights, which is why I'm at the point where I just want to watch their pay-per-views. Now, am I going to watch Dynamite? Yes, I have a show to do. We have a show to talk about. I'm going to check in, obviously, but the interest level has not been there for me since that 300th episode of Dynamite. That it just hasn't. Even those shows leading up to All In, I would sit here and I complain this isn't getting us to All In, especially with the Kenny and Omega, or Okada and Omega build. It should have been better. But no, we don't have Kenny Omega for weeks, and then they start doing other stuff that has no implications with the match. I don't like Dynamite because of some of the reasons recently. They're not building their shows up. It just feels like another wrestling show sometimes. It just feels like another wrestling show with a card. It doesn't feel like a show that's building up for your big shows that people are paying for and that are long as fuck. So that's my problem with Dynamite as a whole. It's not just this one. It's Dynamite as a whole. It's unwatchable for me right now. It is.
Here's the thing when it comes to Dynamite. It feels like the matchmaker, the booker, Tony Khan, looks like he puts it together the night of or a couple of days of. Instead of, okay, I take notes. On Wednesday, we left with XYZ. I'm going to continue that story on this Wednesday from XYZ because we want people to tune in with cliffhangers and, watch because, oh man, yeah, and payoff. But when you feels like you have a clean slate every Wednesday, it's tough to get into it, to follow it. You know what? I could skip this Wednesday because I go back next Wednesday and I'm not going to miss much. All right, we're going to get a great match on Wednesday night. Instead of like, whatever happened to so and so and so, whatever happened to this and this, I like the fact that they're building Bandito and Brody King because everyone talked about how Brody King is just a jobber, big guy like that. Tony Khan don't know how to book big guys, yada, yada, yada. And granted, are they going to lose in the finals of the title eliminator? It's for you to, the answer to that question. But here's a storyline coming out of it. Young Bucks, they're hitting on they're on their own hard times. They're no longer EVPs of the company. They don't have that stroke or power, and they're getting clowned even by Justin Roberts on announcement. That's a story. You might not like it. You might not think it's compelling. When a company that gets stereotyped, they don't do storytelling. They're trying something. They're trying to put one foot forward, or they're trying to crawl before they walk. And listen, I'm not an AEW fan, but I'm trying to give them credit and be positive of what they're trying to do here. But it might be a little too late because they might fall into a stereotype like Chris just mentioned. I only give a crap about their pay-per-views because they're going to be bangers. I'm not going to invest because he might try to do television storyline, but it might be a little bit too late. It's like, I'm going to put this comparison. This is an old Hispanic wisdom or words of wisdom. Like when the mom goes visit her son in jail and she tries to give him an advice, and the son tells her, "Why are you giving me advice now? I'm already in jail. A little too late." And I think that's what's happening. And it sounds better in Spanish. It lost in translation. It's going to be probably a little too late now. People already have that stereotype that made up in their mind. Wednesday Dynamites, the shows suck because of the owner. And maybe it wasn't. Look, they building Mike Speedball Belly, all the complaint, Mr. Non-Charisma. But he's in the main, he's taking on John Moxley, one of your top men in the company. It was the match was packed with high-flying, hard-hitting spots. Mm-hmm. Was it a good match? Of course. Did they storyline with Darby Allin involved in it? Of course. Mm-hmm. Willa Yuta, there's story being told there, but people are already trained to not care about it. And also, what didn't help, before the show begins, you have gossip that Mike Speedball, Belly, and MVP have some issues. People in the company don't like MVP because supposedly they have creative control. They choose who they're not going to lose. Her business is going to lose their titles to. They weren't going to lose to Kevin Knight and Mike Speedball Bailey because they look like a bunch of dorks, to make the Hurt signature look so strong, and then to lose to these dude after they squash Private Party, the Eight Gates of Agony, and so forth, other big tag teams, and then you're gonna have these guys who they're not even really a tag team. They're two X Division men coming together to beat the Hurt Syndicate, former world champion and Bobby Lashley in all multiple companies, and Sheldon Benjamin, who's they tells him he's the roughest, toughest son of a gun in all professional wrestling, and then you're gonna have him lose to jet speed. I can understand a little bit of it, but did it need to get out to the open for gossip, Chris? You tell me what's going on. D-Walk in the building.
I mean, apparently they made a video and they're cool, I guess. So I don't know. I don't think that really should be. I think MVP obviously should have kept his mouth shut about that. But again, that's another thing to the backstage stuff. But no, it's one of those things. Look, I've been watching AEW. I watched their second ever Dynamite is when I really started tuning in. Like, I know they could do so much good. I mean, like I said, I was one of the biggest AEW glazers in the community for a year at least because they were doing really good stuff. But I'm starting to take notice that their Dynamite show, and look, I agree with what you're saying, and I defend AEW all the time where they're trying to do something. The key word, they're trying, either when they do something, and I've seen it, at least especially these last 2 years, when they try to do something, they don't. They put their foot on the pedal halfway, and they're scared to just crank it all the way and put their whole foot on it. That's the problem. And if they don't put their foot all the way, they go completely back. They press the brake. They turn their car off, and they're done. So it's certain things that you want to see. I'm not confident that they can. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, like you said. They're trying, especially with Darby coming back and getting involved with Mox. Yes, MJF and Briscoe. Yes, hell, even Kyle Fletcher finally celebrating a heel, and he's a heel TNT title. Maybe that can mean something. They're trying. Great. But they also tried that with Adam Cole. Didn't work. They tried that with Daniel Garcia. Didn't work. Maybe it could, maybe it won't. But I don't know. They do some stuff that they just don't go 100% on, and then they let their foot off the gas when it's either going decent. They just, I don't know. They don't give their all in something. They kind of just, let's see how this goes. Okay, let's all, like you said, flavor of the week, flavor of the month. That's kind of the problem I have. And a lot of these matches, like, why are we last week? This is another problem I have. So we had All In, and Hangman finally beats Jon Moxley for the title. Everybody's happy. Oh, the title's back in AEW. What do you do the next week on Dynamite? You have MJF. You have the rematch. What do you do the week after? You have them in a 6-man match going against each other. Or it might have been vice versa.
Vice versa.
So, yeah, it was vice versa, right. You had the tag team match right away, and then you did the rematch the week after. Why wasn't that the end of that? I understand rematch clause. Okay, Moxley had a big run, but it's like people wanted this story to end for so long, and they finally ended it at All In, and now they're gonna they continued to do it. That was the thing. That was my problem. That's kind of why I took this week. Like, I watched it obviously, but that's why the interest wasn't there. Is because the last 2 weeks weren't really a new, like, I think people expected where like All In's kind of like a WrestleMania, and we saw some really good things at All In that were a hope, like a reset, right? MJF is the #1 contender, Hangman's a champion, get those guys, like, it just felt fresh. And then they came out of All In kind of doing the same shit again, right? Mark Briscoe and MJF, they had their thing at the casino. They had Moxley and like, we didn't even see Darby that first week. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. He should
follow up.
Yeah, they should have gave Moxley a couple of weeks off, come back in, returning, have that mission statement. Then you're building. And while those 2 weeks Darby should have been the one on that first Wednesday. Just have it a mission statement. I'm back from the mountain. I've got nothing but clarity. Yada yada yada, and go. And you're and the let's rally behind. And then but to me, this is my opinion. I think Tony Khan books the show with HDAD. Like he has, it just feels like it. It feels like the whole production, everything is with attention deficit disorder. Like he just doesn't focus. And look, is this money? It's company. Do what you want with that. But don't get mad when you get the dislike or the slings and arrows from the wrestling community. People, I really don't hear a lot of positivity when it comes to this company. Everyone does a recap, a breakdown. It's all negative. I'm trying to give a positive here. They're trying to build new star in Mark Briscoe, and I'm not a fan of the company. I don't like All Elite Wrestling. It's not my cup of coffee, but I respect those men. I respect the men that go in that ring, the men and women that go in that ring and try to entertain. And what they're trying to do, at least they're trying to do. At least it took forever Brody King to finally get over with Bandito. Right. Go for it, guys. But then we don't know what's going to happen on Wednesday. They're not good. And this is the problem. After every major pay-per-view that they do, it feels like it's copy and paste. We're going to have a title eliminator for some crap.
Yes.
If it's an Owen Hart or it's a Continental Classic tournament, a tournament. It's the same thing with the special announcement. Nobody wants to hear this guy speak some special amount because it doesn't mean anything. So when you want to be serious and the guy wants to be serious or want a tournament to be taking to heart and pay attention to, you're not going to give a crap. Listen, here's another one. Who the hell, after every Owen Hart winner, since it's been from its inception, they take that Owen Hart title, they display it one night, and then they put it in their trophy case. Put it away because it's a tournament. It's a monumental token of winning a tournament. It's a trophy. This girl is wearing it everywhere she goes, even to go to the toilet. She's wearing that damn title, the Owen Hart title. Mercedes, what are we doing? You're looking more, and you're one of the top-notch wrestlers, but now you're becoming to the point of cringy goofiness while Naomi's killing it. And why are you comparing them? No, we're not comparing them because they both walked out. Naomi agreed with your settlement with WWE, with your way you felt, and agreed with it because she lived it with you, and they both walked out. Wasn't a good point. Wasn't a good move for Naomi at that time, but she look at her now and look at where you are now. You're making a lot of money, but the wrestling community do not really like you right now, Mercedes. They don't like you. And I know you don't care. You're making a lot of money, but Naomi may not be making the same amount of money, but Naomi, everyone was genuinely excited when she won that cash-in of that title. Just compare those two ladies. You're despised. One followed you, but she did her thing because you didn't fight hard enough for her to get a New Japan contract because she had to go to TNA, your homegirl. You didn't fight, with all that creative control that you claim you have. You didn't fight hard for your homegirl to get a contract elsewhere. She had to go to TNA and carve her own thing, go back, and she ended up back on the WWE, and look where she's at now. Just that's all I'm saying. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself to the wrestling. You got all these titles from all these independent shows. And means what? What it means. Some of these promotions were never heard of, and you don't even promote. You don't even put over these promotions either. Go on Instagram, go on your TikTok, go on whatever, and talk about these. How does it feel? What is it significant of you being the representative of these independent shows champion? You're bringing them to another level. You're at least a vignette, something. I'm going to make you ladies, if you want to take this Baka Chigaloop independent title, you need to step up your game. That means you have to go grab some more with your coaches, yada yada, in order to beat me. Because I'm the CEO. You gotta to go to another level to beat the CEO. She don't even do that for those promotions. So what are we doing here? Are you saying that you're an 18-time world champion because you want to be one more than Charlotte, or whatever the case is, 14? Is that what it is? That's what it seems like? It sounds petty, and that's just me. And she's a great fucking talent. That's the thing that worries, that pisses me off. She doesn't need to resort to that. It's like you're a great talent, but now at these days in 2025, you're like, what are you doing? You're like, what are we doing with you? What are you doing, lady? Come on, it's that hurts the company. it hurts the perception of the company because you're getting negative heat for that wrestler.
It also hurts, these wrestlers at those promotions at these schools. You know, if I was training, if I'm one of those ladies at one of the promotions, right, and it's like, okay, cool, wow, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, whatever, she has our championship, like, whatever, that's cool. You would think she would like help them, or like maybe tell the promoter trainers, hey, when I lose this title, I really see potential in her. She can she just kind of wants it for herself. And just the fact that she has championships around her waist, that's kind of what it seems like. That's all she cares about. She doesn't care, at least to me, and what it seems, about helping anybody or putting people over. These girls, if I'm one of the female ladies at the independent schools or promotions that she has titles, I'm frustrated. I'm worried because I'm supposed to be here progressing my career and, you know, trying to make something, but yet all these people care about is Mercedes Moné, and rightfully so, right? She's a big star, but it's like she already has the AEW. She's again one of the biggest female stars in the business, whether I like her or not, right? So she doesn't need that. What about the girls coming up and, you know, wanna, you know, for their brand or their company or their school, they don't get the opportunities either because Mercedes is kind of hogging it all. So that's
I'll
really
give you an example,
yeah.
Chris.
Yeah,
Chris,
go ahead.
I'll give you an example. We'll go to TNA.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah,
Natalia Neidhart. She wrestled Reality of Wrestling, Promise Braxton. Natalia put over Promise Braxton. How much of a tough, one of her favorite matches she ever had. No, and some people don't even know what the hell is Reality of Wrestling. That's Booker T school. But she went out of her way to tweet it, to write it, to even when I'm busted open to talk, and talked about putting over Promise Braxton. Now she became a household name because Natalia had a match with her. She didn't have to. So Natalia could have a quiet match. Also, the NWA World Champion. Natalia went out of her way, and Natalia, I don't think, won those matches. But still, she put over the talent, talking about them. Keep an eye on them. There's future behind these wrestlers. Where the Mercedes, it's about, look at me, I got 10 titles. Look at me. Hey, hey, ho. Hey, hey, ho. Hey, hey, ho. Put over, pay it back. Pay it back for the future or the ladies coming behind you. You got the title, you beat them. Boy, did they you know what? They made me sharpen my skills. That's why I'm an 8 title champ. I'm an 8 or whatever, 8 division champion, because these ladies are bringing it and I got to bring my A game. And until they get in my level, you know, and talk about the talent. She doesn't. It's all about her. That's where the disconnect comes from. What's up, Chris? What's going on? How are you, man? Latina, the new AEW World Title champion. It could be possible. Toni Storm might want to take a break. She might want to take a break, and it'll be good for Athena, new fresh face in the women's division, to start bringing new situation. You know what? I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't frown upon it.
I would love that.
You know what?
I would
anyone
love
at this point, Chris, anyone burn Mercedes. That's what it seems like. And you don't want to get there.
I've been rooting for Athena, man, big time. So, Chris, I agree, man. I hope she wins that. I hope she wins the new title. Or I hope she wins the women's world title. And like Kev said, Toni could take a break, do whatever. As long as it's not Mercedes.
A vacation, couple weeks, 3 weeks vacation. You know, just her body must be aching because she's always on television. She's always compelling. But listen, you need a little bit of a break to regenerate, retool,
And her husband just came back, so
yeah.
So now that Juice is back and kind of getting things grooving, I think she could step away for a little bit, you know.
Why not? Just a little. It's not that we don't want to see her to go away. No. It's not. Again, don't misinterpret it. The body, the toll that it takes on a wrestler's body, week in, week out, the traveling, the in ring. You need a little relaxation to just, you know, get things back in order, and that would help a Toni Storm get that, because she puts on high quality matches. She needs, and maybe that for Athena. Now, and this is what's sad about it, and we'll move on to TNA. Mercedes is the bigger face to be the women's champion, because if you really want to market, and I said WWE has gone mainstream, and Mercedes is a face that could be mainstream. You see her in The Mandalorian, you see her at courtside at the Celtics games, but with her attitude and her proof in the pudding that she's showing right now, it's not going to help. So it sucks. I think Toni Storm days are numbered as Athena's going to be champion. We'll see. Forbidden Doors coming up for them. By the way, record selling in their tickets. Great job, All Elite Wrestling. How much they shit on them about small venues, not selling the place out. At least in the UK,
Oh, the O2
that's
Arena is going to be
O2
popping,
Arena.
man.
They've got over 14,000
Yes.
people going to that arena. Kudos, All Elite Wrestling. Kudos. Maybe you might want to think that maybe your market is England. I hate to say it, England might be your market, not the United States. It might, I hate to say it, but
No,
we'll
you're
see.
you're 100% right, man.
We'll see. We'll go into our favorite brand. Of course, we are the unofficial.
Oh yeah, we
podcast.
reviewed it Thursday too.
And we're going to do it again real quick. We are the unofficial podcast of TNA Wrestling and more, of course, here on the Sports Jedi Network. Shout out to all the performers there on TNA Wrestling, the Impact Zone. We get a good Impact Zone where Trick Williams comes out. Trick Williams opens up the Impact Zone, talking about his opponent Moose, calling bobbleheads. His mama's a bobblehead. His whole generation's a bobblehead. Moose comes out. Moose comes in, but first, before he talks about Moose, he talked about losing that match last week with Casey Navarro hitting him with a crutch and causing the pin. But Moose comes out, he doesn't even talk. Moose just goes right to the hands, punched him, boom. I liked it. We talked about it. We said it was a good one there. The Steve Macklin match for the international title. Those two men with with Jake something. Those two men want to go at it. They want to kick each other's ass. The count out was okay because both men were so into beating each other up. They were blinded. They were deaf tone for the referee's count. And it ends on a double disqualification. We find out in emergence it's going to be a no disqualification match. I like that Santino Marella broke down the card with a weak build. There's a little slippery slope because we only had 2 matches announced, but then they filled out the card really nice. I like that fact. Also, Sami Callihan talking to Mike Santana, talking about, if I can't beat you, I got to see how, you're the standard. Mike Santana is the standard. So now it makes sense, Chris, as we're speaking. Sami Callihan wants to see if he lives up to the standard of TNA to wrestle Mike Santana. If not, he's going to put his boots away. I know at first we didn't like it, but now as we speak about it, if you're calling yourself the standard of TNA, Sami Callihan has to measure up if he could meet the standard, Chris.
Yeah, we talked about it Thursday too. It's one of those things that could work out for Santana if he, wants to. He needs to. Fuck, what did I say Thursday? He needs to kind of. He's such a good friend of Steve Macklin and all this stuff. So maybe this is a test for Santana that he'll do anything to get the world title. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's a good one. We were talking about that, and Eric Young comes up, said he let down his TNA family. Not only his TNA family, but his daughter. Got a little personal. Mike Santana, Eric Young is trying to push Santana to that next level of, do you have that killer instinct even more? Because you're going to need that to beat an obstacle either in Trick Williams or Moose, if Moose were to win that title against Trick Williams at Emergence, because that match was announced. So Eric Young is trying to help in a way, but in a douchey way, to help Mike Santana level up his standard, raise the bar of the standard of TNA by making it personal, see if he could take it to that next level and in deep inside him. So I like that from Eric Young. They're going to have a match this Thursday, the go home show, which I thought that was going to leave for Victory Road. Maybe we get some shenanigans with it, with the Northern Armory, the remainder Icarus and the other young man comes in, and Santana has to now go through that gauntlet like he did with the system or with the Order 4. We don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that. No risk, no disrespect to AEW. They should do a little better tour. Yeah, we mentioned that. We were talking about that, Chris, a few seconds before you joined us as we went through the AEW. They're trying. They're trying with that storytelling, but we're going to TNA where they're telling some stories here on the week to week, despite the fact that they're on a recorded delay weeks in advance, but they're still telling the story. We just mentioned the Santana story. We just mentioned the Macklin and something story. Another story that we took backstage was seeing Gabby Laspiza on commentary doing the backstage interviews, and out comes Gia Miller. Now, Gia Miller, if you saw her on Slammiversary, was attacked by Tessa. Tessa has been out suspended for a bit. I don't know when she's returning. She's returning soon because Gia Miller takes the microphone and makes a message, says, I got it. I'm back on my job. Thank you, Gabby. You did a great job. Yeah, your cleavage looks great on television. You put those girls up together. Nice. Now, take a step back. And Gia Miller got really, really serious and said, you do that again, I'm going to F you up. I was like, oh, Gia Miller. Mean Gia Miller. Yes. I loved it because she showed personality. But then she snapped right back into her job to interview Joe Henry. Joe Henry sets up the main event. Him and Mustafa Ali. Let's talk about that main event, and we'll talk about the rest of the show here. You know what? I like that Joe Henry, main eventer, former world champion. Mustafa Ali's trying to climb up to the ranks of the main event scene that we talked about. Great match between those gentlemen. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it as well. Good main event. Trying to build Mustafa. Like I said, Mustafa, they're gonna build him. He needs to be. I went on a whole rant about how he needs to be on that main event spot. And he will be. This is the beginning of working with talent and the beginning of building up Joe Hendry again. And so I like that this was the main event, and it was a first time ever match. So this is really good. Hopefully they run it back in a bigger crowd, bigger event when the implications are more serious.
Here's the one thing that we both talked about it, and we did a full review on the TNA as soon as the show finished. It's on our video there. You can check it out. But we want to still. This is weekly wrestling. We want to make sure we give a lot of TNA input because we are the unofficial podcast of TNA, and we want to make sure we talk about it. We get them over. We get them glazed, and we make sure that they continue to show. We waving the flag of TNA wrestling. Not just Mike Santana is the standard. We support the standard of TNA. Let's go. My point here was with Agent Zero. Agent Zero with the big kick helps him get Mustafa Ali hit the 450 splash for the victory. Now this Agent Zero looks like a menacing character. Maybe Joe Henry, Agent Zero. I said this to you, Chris, on that review, and I'm gonna say it here. Got to be careful how you book Agent Zero because you don't want Joe Henry to beat him immediately. Then you don't give a crap, and then he becomes a great Khali type of big guy that, or Corrigan type of big guy that you don't care because he lost. You got to build if they are going to build a new star from the ranks of the Order 4 security, they got to book him strong.
Yeah, give him some matches under his belt before he even thinks about getting in a match with Joe Hendry. So I like Agent Zero. That kick was deadly. He's obviously he's a giant. He's kind of a little bit different from what we normally see on the TNA roster. So give him some matches under his belt and build him up to see if people like him or not, and go from there. I think that's the best way you could do it with him.
And you were talking about a wrestling star that wasn't from someone else. Although TNA wrestling is the land of second chances.
Of course,
the second opportunity or final opportunity to reinvent yourself to get over.
Oh, I did say that. Yeah. About when was the last? Yeah. So I said this on Thursday. Thank you, Kevin.
I listened.
That was a good point.
I listen, Chris.
Good point. Yeah, there's been a lot of things going on since then. A lot of things. But that's why I forgot about the whole NXT. I totally forgot about that. No, thank you for bringing that up because it's kind of important, right? With TNA, you don't really. A lot of them, obviously, Leon, even though he had an indie run in the UK for a while, but a lot of these guys aren't. TNA hasn't had a homegrown talent in a long time since like AJ, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, that time. A lot of them throughout the years have been like ex WWE guys or like people that have been elsewhere. TNA recently is a lot of ex WWE. So, and again, with Mike Santana, all these people, they've wrestled elsewhere. AEW, wherever it's been, New Japan, wherever it's been, right? So I think for somebody like Agent Zero, if the crowd really gets behind him and he has good matches and he has a unique look, right, because he's so massive, I think this could be unintentional, but you could probably build a homegrown TNA star. Like, hey, I was in TNA, I was just doing eventually, right, when he's on CVV or something, or here on the Sports Jedi Network, he's like, yo, I started off as a Secret Service kind of role. There wasn't really an intention for me to get in the ring. I did the kick against Joe Hendry. Boom. Things kind of got going. And now TNA opens him up and they give him the platform. So I think they could have an opportunity on that sense with Agent Zero as well.
Yeah, we'll see there. And I think Leon Slater, I think is TNA homegrown.
Absolutely.
Regardless of the fact Even though he started at 9,
X
I think
Division champion.
be on
He's gonna be
TV.
there for a while. He's
Yeah.
gonna put over that X Division. He's great. I love.
He's learning how to do TV
he's
work
more
and all
recent.
that. Yeah.
He's more recent. Leon Slater's the TNA grown recently.
Yes.
Yes. But you have him, but you still need. I think you can get a little more because you had Samoa, AJ, Christopher. You had a bunch of other people too. Bobby Roode, James Storm, Eric Young, who's still there. He's talk about TNA homegrown. Frankie Kazarian. So I mean, TNA could do it. They just haven't in a while, right? Because
I
they
think
want
they're
to
doing it now.
Rebuild. No, right. But I'm saying they haven't in a while, right? Because they were kind of going through a bad time and they wanted to get the exposure back. So whatever. You got those people like the Hardy Boys, Nick Nemeth. You need those people. Don't get me wrong. You need those people, and they're doing phenomenal. They're doing some of their best work with TNA, right? So it helps. It helps these talent like the Hardys and Nemeths, and it helps TNA because those are big talent who still want to put on some great matches, and they're doing still some of the best. And maybe they don't want to go to an AEW or they don't have the opportunity to go back to a WWE. So TNA is the perfect place for that. But yeah, Leon Slater is going to be the new homegrown face of TNA, kind of like AJ Styles, right? That's we kind of saw that with him going out.
That was a torch.
That
was a torch passing moment there.
Exactly. So I think I like. I main event was good. They could do something with agents there.
And speaking of TNA, kudos to Matthew Redthoff. I know I'm butchering his last name, as well as Tom Halligan, the commentary team.
Kermit, yeah.
Yeah, they both they both resigned. They're gonna be the voice of TNA going forward. Love it.
That.
They're returning back.
I wouldn't have two other people on commentary to make fun of anyway. So shout out
to
the boys, man.
They're good.
They're
do their thing.
No, they're great. They're great. I enjoy their commentary. They have great chemistry together, and they're funny. They're a little bit funny. That's why we we have our inside jokes with Matt Kermit, but he's good at what he does, and great commentary tag team or duo.
And also
that TNA re-signed them.
TNA, shout out to Vicious Vicky from the independent scene, got an opportunity on TNA television. Her match against Mara Sade, which is formerly known as Jakara Jackson. Good to see Vicious Vicky. I think I got more excited for her over Jakara Jackson to see that opportunity.
Yeah, you did.
Because following her career in the independent scene, I want to interview her. We interview independent wrestlers, put out a couple feelers to see if she want to come on and join our show. But you know what? Even if she doesn't show up and interview with us, it was good to see her on TNA Wrestling, getting that exposure on the major company. Hopefully that leads to a contract. We know that they signed a couple of young ladies on the independent scene to booster their knockouts division on Explosion. One name, if I'm TNA right now, get a little bit ahead of the curve, where she's right now on storm with the independent scene, is Nikki Blackheart from Coastal Championship Wrestling. They should have an opportunity to bring Nikki Blackheart to TNA now that they're growing, now that they're working with NXT as well. With that partnership is an opportunity because right now, to be honest with you, Nikki Blackheart isn't really needed in NXT right now. They have a Jordan Grace. They got a lot of great women up and coming. This will be a great get for TNA to get a Nikki Blackheart for their company, because that would help them build her. As long as they don't do what they did, as long as they and I trust the coaching staff, the agents, the bookers in that company to help her. And like you said, those veterans that are there currently right now, like a Nemeth, the Hardys, how to act like a professional, how to work at television, storytelling, all that stuff, they're there. Those inputs, that locker room is very tight. Unlike they did with Savannah Evans. I thought they missed an opportunity with Savannah Evans in TNA. I thought they left a lot of talent on the table with her where they could have booked her strong. I don't know what happened under the D'Amore reigns with Savannah Evans. I felt so disappointed that she's not with the company, because she checks the boxes with the looks. But I think Nikki Blackheart is younger than Savannah, and there's a box that could be checked. If she slowly but surely bring her up, and I know I trust the Dreamers, I trust Storms, I trust the Ace Steels in that company. And she got good coaches in Dave Grangarel in Coastal Championship Wrestling, where, she's got some advice. And I think a TNA run for her will be great. If they could sign her, Mr. Silva, that's a name that you got to look at there. Nikki Blackheart, or the Scouts. That's a name that's taking the independent scene by storm. And other lady wrestlers. Maybe if we'll move to see where that goes to build. You need fresh faces there. It's great to see that they got Jakara Jackson in, and I know there's other few ladies from the WWE scene that are out there. But sometimes you want to bring, like we were talking about, discover your own stars from the independent scenes. Vicious Vicky, Nikki Blackheart, Janai Kai could be one that's out there. There's a few ladies out there, many more talented women out there for TNA to bring in knockouts. Maybe they look at a title. They signed those 2 United Kingdom ladies, that are part of their tag team that wrestled Explosion last night. Great. Major League Blondes. Maybe they want to throw them in there, see what they got, a tryout. WWE, it's not all about WWE. There's other places. I like it for TNA where they're going. Look, they built the Slammiversary card, which was really good. You got some good matches. We're going to be covering it here for sure. Emergence is going to be a hell of a match. Leon Slater versus Cedric Alexander. We didn't even talk about the promo from Cedric, who says he was born for that X Division title. That's going to be Leon Slater's one of the toughest matchups as a title defense. What a title defense to go up against Cedric immediately at Emergence. That's going to be a banger of a match. I think that kicks off the show.
Yep.
I think that kicks off the show. That's going to be like, holy crap. Set the tone with them. Let's go. One thing I'm intrigued to see, we were announced because Fatal 4-Way. You're going to have the Elegance brand, your Knockouts Tag Team Champions taking on Zaya Brookside and Yingling Yi from Chongqing, China. And of course, you're going to have Fatal Influence. And you're going to have the Inspirations in a Fatal 4-Way. Me personally, wouldn't be surprised at the end of the night, Fatal Influence walks away with all the gold. JC Jane with both titles, the Knockouts title, and I think Fatal Influence takes home both Knockouts tag team titles, because you're going to see it on NXT TV, and they're just going to continue to amplify the TNA title brand on live television.
Yep.
I think that makes sense business-wise. I think that makes sense business-wise.
And again, I said it on Thursday too, right? Where if they win it, they want the TV deals and stuff. We're gonna see more of this. We're gonna see more of this stuff anyway. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. Do it.
Yes, indeed, man. Thanks, Chris. We appreciate Chris Gallows in the chat, of course, putting some good stuff there. We're not ignoring you. We just want to keep the flow of the show. We appreciate the comments, though. We definitely do. Rest in peace. Hulk Hogan was late to rest this week. He had his memorial service here in Tampa. Triple H was there. Kid Rock. Vince McMahon made a rare appearance in public to pay respects to the Hulkster. And of course, what we talked about Hogan's impact in the professional wrestling scene, but he was laid to rest his body to the Hulkster. Brother, there's no one will be everyone like you. Let's go into something that was last night, fresh off our minds, was the WWE SmackDown last night. A lot of mixed reaction. If you look at some people from New York, other than this BX Jedi guy here, didn't like it. He thought it was terrible. But everything, his stick in his group, and he has his opinion. Everything is terrible to him. Wrestling to him stinks. And if you go disagree with him, you're insulted with curse words. I mean, look, if you don't agree with everyone, we could agree to disagree. But to insult people, come on, you're a 40-plus-year-old man who streams and play video games. And then he's dead tired. Oh, I'm so tired of working hard. Well, motherfucker, like you like to say, go work as an electrician, build a house, and get up early in the morning. Go work in the sun, the heat, coming home and content create, video editing, do all that stuff, and then let's talk. I'm not sitting around making lattes and espresso beans and all that stuff. These hands actually work with tools every day, and then come try to do a video script, So I'm going to go right into this from the Bell Center in Canada. Bell Center in Canada. John Cena opens up. By the way, thunderous reaction by John Cena. John Cena deserves that final send-off. Look, the heel run, it might have not worked to some of us. It might have. We're not going to go back on the rehash. He's now the baby face. When I heard the reaction the crowd is giving him and all that stuff, I got so happy for John. I felt the moment for him, but I still got pissed. I got even more pissed off. And I'll tell you why. Brock Lesnar. We don't know why Brock is attacking John Cena. John Cena says he's a little afraid of all that stuff. Talked about the post-match beat down. If you want some, come get some. Something people think it's lame, whatever the case is. Wouldn't it be greater if he says, "You want some, come get some. I'm putting this undisputed world title on the line. Come on, you want to come out of retirement, attack me? Here it is. I'm the 17th world time, the greatest of all time. And you know what? If for me to continue to be the greatest of all time, I gotta beat you. You want to embarrass me? I gotta beat you. I still scratch my head. Why in the world they were rushing still to put that title on Cody Rhodes? He said he had 11 dates left. On paper, on WWE website is 9. There's 2 extra dates. I think that Joe Henry match is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. He said 9 WWE appearances. There's still 2 extras. One of them, I think, is going to be for that Joe Henry match or building up to the Joe Henry John Cena. That's just me.
I mean, he did the AA on Thursday against Mustafa, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. No, I agree with this on what you're saying, right? I was happy for John Cena. Obviously, he generally looked like overwhelmed a little bit by the crowd. Obviously, everybody loves John Cena. Again, I would have liked to seen this with the world title. My only question, I guess, it wouldn't be more of a rebuttal. I guess it'd just be a question, right? If you were to have John Cena do that, are people going to cheer for Brock? He's not really going to be the babyface. So I don't know how that would work in terms of storyline wise, but I also, you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to interrupt you, but here's one
go
thing,
ahead.
Chris. That Friday before SummerSlam, John Cena already turned babyface.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he did. So it would have been, yeah. Oh my God, I totally forgot about. Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, that I take what I said back. That would have worked perfect. Again, it would have been John Cena, not as like it would have. If it would have felt like human John Cena, right? Not like the John Cena Make-A-Wish guy, the over guy. It would have been like, you want, like, you know what I'm saying? Even though he turned babyface before SummerSlam, he went because like Braun would have disrespected him. In his moment. So I agree. I would have liked to see John Cena and Brock with the title. I wasn't at first. It doesn't. Now that we're here and you said that, I could understand why it would have been a little better to have the title. I wasn't fully convinced, but after today, yeah, it would have been a lot better. But I don't know, man. It's confusing though, right? Because since we're still on the subject with John Cena, I don't want to get too ahead, but we're going from Brock or John Cena from this, and then we're going from him to Logan Paul. Or him to Logan Paul. Like, I don't want to get too ahead, but
Chris, there's no title. Why should I care about Logan Paul and John Cena?
Exactly. Now, that's another reason why I agree with you that Cena should have kept the title.
And I understand. Listen, it doesn't mean that it's not a hate of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, I still say it. I'm gonna say it again. After John Cena retires, Cody Rhodes is the face of WWE, baby face of the company. Mm-hmm. But don't rush it. There's time. But here's the thing: if WrestleMania would have ended, SummerSlam Night 2 would have ended with John Cena just got a pin over Cody Rhodes, and then Cody Rhodes was like, "Damn, I just couldn't beat you." At that moment, then they embrace because they already established their baby face. Both are baby face. Where the sign of respect. Cody embraces John. I couldn't beat you right now. And whatever the case was. Boom. Brock Lesnar hits. Music hits. He comes down to the ring. At the moment, we don't think that Lesnar's a heel yet. Because last time we saw Brock Lesnar was putting over Cody Rhodes. Shaking his hand and showing him the sign of respect. He comes into the ring. He stares face to face. They could go off the air that way. Or Brock Lesnar goes and pushes Cody Rhodes out of the ring. And John Cena says, "What you're doing?" And he get F5s. And then he takes the title and throws it on John Cena. Boom. Holy shit. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Damn, he's next. Perfect. Because now you continue the story prolonged. Cody Rhodes could win another number 1 contender match, whatever the case is later down the road. I said, "John, I need that one more time from you, John. I couldn't, John Cena Cody Rhodes could still tell a story that he's trying to run, doubting himself. Was it a fluke beating the one-time world title? Was it a fluke that time beating Roman Reigns? Yada, yada, yada. You could have told that story in those few months there where Cody Rhodes is doubting himself, that he wasn't good enough for John Cena at the moment. Where do I have to tap into that energy that I beat Roman Reigns and maybe seeing Roman Reigns on television, when they pass in the hallway and whatever the case, they could have told that story, but they rushed it. They rushed Cody Rhodes winning the title. And now, should you care about John Cena? And then after that, John Cena talks, and then I love the fact John Cena is smart with his words. With Logan Paul came out and says, "Wait a minute, you were just crazy me saying I'm one of the best wrestlers, non-wrestlers in there," and he goes, "It's true." But then, and I love the fact that John Cena talked about it and then he took it back and attacked him. They're gonna set up a match, no problem. And people are wondering where John Cena and Brock Lesnar are gonna wrestle. They should have wrestled the Clash of the Paris. Why are we rushing this again? Why are we rushing this? Then here's the next complaint. Oh, it should have been on American soil. Oh, it's now they're complaining it's going to be in Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel is a smaller venue. I think between Crown Jewel and Passion Paris, that period between, I think that's where John and Brock might wrestle, or they'll leave it for San Diego. And in Survivor Series, John Cena, Brock Lesnar. Look, this is not the first time WWE is teasing a long, lengthy match. They tease a whole year of Rock and Cena for WrestleMania. They did a whole year. They're not afraid of making you wait for the match. So hold your horses. Oh, at Perth, we're not going to see it. It's a small venue. Why not in Paris where there's 40,000? Hold your horses. Let's wait how it goes. They already fucked up, in my opinion, the Cody Rhodes winning the title over John Cena because you don't care. We got to give it some time. Now, Logan Paul, it's just a filler for John Cena. I wish the title was there. Oh, he doesn't deserve it. Well, guess what? John Cena is the world champion. It just felt like, why did we rush Cody?
Well said. Because even when Roman and Logan Paul had their match, people are like, why does Logan Paul whatever? But it's like, it's for the title. It means more. Like, I don't think people would want to see Logan Paul in a, like, I don't know. John Cena versus Logan Paul is a good match, right? But for the title, it has bigger implications, and I think people would genuinely be more interested.
Here's the deal. That you're correct, Chris. There is no title. What's more important? John Cena versus Austin Theory for the United States title, or John Cena versus Logan Paul for nothing?
Him versus Theory for the U.S. title.
Exactly. And Theory went over, but it was the U.S. title match that was implicated. Yeah. It was involved. There was a title match involved. Oh, John Cena is bigger than the title. You're correct. John Cena is bigger than the title. But when you have him already with the champion and you only have, he says 12 dates. WWE, if you go to WWE.com or whatever, it's 9 scheduled dates. Whatever. We could debate that. He might have added 3 more for WWE, or maybe he's going to go to TNA and wrestle Joe Henry. Who knows? My point still, it still felt more, it would have felt more special for the world title, John Cena. Cody Rhodes is still hot. He's chasing. Especially we're going to find out later on the road, it's going to be Drew McIntyre now taking on Cody Rhodes. For all the Drew McIntyre lovers that say he deserves a title run, he decides a title opportunity, main event, you're feeding him to Cody Rhodes, his first victim off his title defense, like AJ Styles. Are you happy with that, Drew McIntyre fans? Are you happy with that? That he's going to be the first in line? We know he's not going to lose that title. Cody's not losing that title, so are you happy? You got him in the main event, fighting for the world title against the guy who just won it.
LA Knight situation.
Exactly. LA Knight situation.
Two guys that aren't really, two guys that people feel like should be on that spot. You gave them that spot right away. And they probably won't see that spot till, unless something happens here in this tag team match, which, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll talk about later. I don't want to get into it right now. But
no, let's go. Let's get the main event. Let's get the main event. No, go for it. We'll talk about the rest of the stuff that happened on SmackDown.
So yeah. I thought it was a basic tag match. I didn't mind it. Obviously we knew, right? Obviously we didn't know like what was gonna happen outcome wise because it was a DQ, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was good to see how Logan Paul and John Cena kind of work together in the same ring and kind of coexist, right, with Cena and Cody, even though they're 2 big baby faces, whatever. I don't know. With this, it's going to be obviously Cody against Drew, and Drew's one of the best heels probably that brand has right now. Correct. So this match was a great TV match, but again, you're doing Cody and Drew, and he has that momentum. you're kind of not helping Drew get over. And you're overseas, which is Drew's very popular over as well. So it's a tough one with this. I love that this match was on SmackDown, bro. Like, you know, I'm like, this was great, and I was even surprised that they had it. But it's one of those things that outcome wise, it's a little hard to like either get invested or kind of see what they're going without Cena having that title, because this year's supposed to be about Cena, not Cody. And with Cody as your world champion, you got to pay attention to Cody.
Exactly.
Or otherwise people are going to bitch and
Shoehorning him.
complain about otherwise people are going to bitch and complain about how boring his title run is. Oh, this show's about Cena, but he doesn't have the world title anymore. So why not just keep the title on Cena? We know, even if it's the most predictable match in the world for a retirement match, you couldn't have give us a couple more matches now while we're almost at the end, not totally at the end of it. And again, why I love that the Logan Paul's getting involved, but where's Brock? Where's Brock gonna fit into this? Is Brock gonna come after Cody again? Is Brock or is Brock gonna come after, like, what's gonna happen? Like, I don't know. I don't think, maybe not. I don't think that's the last time we see Cody and John together. A tag team in the ring, something. We're going to see these guys again together. So I don't know what they're kind of going with this. Kind of going for Logan Paul and Drew right after Brock. I don't know.
And that's what's hurting them. If so, creative. If these wrestlers are not available, don't shoehorn them in at the moment. Give us a moment, and then you're like, there's going to be no payoff. It's like you're becoming All Elite Wrestling, HD with the lack of stories and nothing makes sense, and you're putting matches together. And if you see the people complaining about All Elite, why are you copying them? You're the leader, the standard. They're supposed to be copying you. Why are we taking a step back here with that? And then people have the right to say that the show is mud and it's not good because WWE has set a standard of storytelling week to week. Where, looking, we talked about it many times. Every backstage promo, everything had a meaning, a purpose before Rock comes out and say he wants to be sit on the head of the table and they put him in the board, a member of the board. I'm not saying it's The Rock's fault. I'm not saying his fault. But ever since that timeline, ever since Dwayne Johnson become a board member of TKO, this whole creative writing has gone to shit. Nothing makes sense. Everything's for a pop-up moment, but they'll tell you about how much money they make. They're charging more money. They're charging a lot of money and so forth. Speaking of charging for a little money, I'll leave that for the end, that I have a little bit of a rant with that myself when it comes to ticket pricing and so forth. But remind me. We're going to finish off here. We'll find out where Drew McIntyre closed out the show great. He freaking Claymore Cody beautifully went off the air. Cody went hurt and boom. Great moment. Like, damn, you want to see Drew and Cody. But and again, predictability is good. Look, I know in a couple hours, the sun is going to go down. It's a predictable. But what happens through the course of the day is the story I'm going to be, it's going to tell. The story is going to be told for August 9th in my life. The same thing goes with the wrestling. It's predictable, but how do they get there? What they tell? It's subject to change. We have to be ready for the ride. We'll find out what happens at Clash of Paris. Let's talk about the rest that happened here, where and this is true, you could have a little bit of irate. I was a little bit like, why is he chasing the hug when it comes to, we had the Broner City Machine Guns taking on the My Family Tree with Tola Tonga, JC Mateo. They get the victory. They're going to challenge the Wyatt Six. I understand when people don't care, don't get invested, but they're a multi-man group, and so is the MFTs. Maybe that's why they're doing it. There's no women in the NFT right now, but I don't know if they're going to add. I don't think they will, whatever the case is, but there's multi-men where they could go. And you know what? They could have a program for October in the early autumn. Let them do that. It's something different. It's not Bloodline versus Bloodline. Gives Jey Uso, whatever, and they go, or Jimmy Uso, and then they could come back to it for War Games if they want to, whatever the case is. You know what? It might not be the greatest resonating, but it's something different at the moment. But here's the thing: Solo Sikoa, Aldis comes out, Sami Zayn. Meanwhile, Carmelo Hayes is not getting television time. He fought Axiom on Main Event, which I heard was a phenomenal match because they have chemistry from NXT. I watched that match myself a couple of times in NXT live. I know they had that great chemistry. They didn't show it, no television, although we saw Melo later on tonight with Miz. With Miz is still, they're still with that. With Miz is playing the Melo and Melo. I'm like, give me something different. End that already. That's Miz. He's not getting TV time. You shoehorn Melo by unfortunate with Miz. It's like, ugh. End that. Melo needs to get pushed, get going, get that Melo train going for 2026 and for on. He's still the damn Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. Nothing came out of that. Nothing really comes out of that winning that Battle Royal except for Jey Uso for winning it, because Bobby Lashley was boring with that. He won it and it was like, okay, nothing happened. I'm trying to remember all the winners that came out of that. They really nothing memorable. Just Jey Uso because he's eating, but that wasn't even because of the Andre the Memorial Battle Royal. I digress. We'll stay back with this. Sami Zayn comes out to chase the hug. We know he's a Montreal Canadian native, whatever the stuff is. They loved it. The crowd was enamored. He gets the roll-up victory. They didn't even say it was a non-title match. They just said a match. They didn't say a non-title match. I'm thinking, damn. And I was saying it. Don't be afraid that the WWE always does this shit whenever they go to the European tours. They changed the United States title and they put it on the most popular guy to generate the masses, like LA Knight beating Shinsuke right before and vice versa, because they want to sell merchandise. They want to sell money. Nakamura wasn't going to be popular in the European tour. Everybody's going to say LA Knight, yeah. So I was already skeptical on the watch along with that. I said, be careful. When I see Sami Zayn gets the victory, I go, shit, they're going to change the title. They didn't say nothing. They just say he won. So I'm like, it didn't make kind of sense. Get him in a roll up. I kind of would have liked the disqualification when they beat the crap out of him and they get more heat from the Montreal crowd. But they went with the roll up. Now, do you want to see Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa for the title?
I mean, I guess I would for once because it makes kind of sense, right? When Sammy joined the Bloodline, Solo was, he kind of gets Solo to crack. He was there for that Bloodline at the end with Solo. And
okay, it's history.
It's history there, and I hope he doesn't win it. But you could have a match, and again, I don't like Sammy, but he's a great babyface, and he knows how to work. Like, if you have a bad match with Sami Zayn, like, I don't know how you could have a bad match with Sami Zayn. Like, he's good at what he does. He really is. I just don't want him to see him win. But yeah, I wouldn't mind this one time.
All right. Clash at Paris or
yeah, have one of those PLEs, have him in there, throw it on there. It's not bad. I don't want this to be like a repetitive thing where we see it again. But if you're gonna have him, pin him, roll him up, win, and there's a little history there, why not? I'll see it one time. I think it'll help Solo too, because again, you can't have a bad match with Sammy. So,
speaking of bad, how bad was that Wyatt 6 promo? That was not good. That was not good. It's like, oh my God. Everyone loved them, pomp and circumstances. And here's the thing that sucks. It's August. And we're getting into September, October, Halloween, spooky season. They have their own Halloween Horror Nights vignettes or stage, whatever the case, House of Horror, whatever you want to call it. It's the time now to heat up the Wyatt 6. But at this point, I don't care. Not invested. Not invested. They're not spooky. They're not. It's like. I was like,
I agree.
Wrap it up.
No, I agree 100%, man. It's one of those things. We wanted to see him out in the ring for a while with more character and more story, but I don't know, man. I think it's just time. I think it's at the point where I think they've tried to milk this out for so long and they didn't really do much, to where now that they're trying to do something, people don't really care. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's good with the Wyatt 6, but maybe do they have the wrong guys out there when Dexter and Joe? Should it be Bo Dallas and Joe, or Bo Dallas and Dexter? I don't know.
Eric the Red is such an impulsing.
Eric Redbeard, or Eric Rowan or whatever.
Why is he just standing there like a buffoon? He should be out there. He should be out ringside with them. and like, oh damn, equalizer. I don't
Mhm.
know. We'll see because we saw a backstage promo with DYI and Candice LeRae. You saw that black and blue on her hip.
Yeah.
Wow, like that's talk about battle scars. The Street Profits still icing themselves out, but they were in their wrestling gear. If you're, I mean, okay. They're gonna have a match again next week on SmackDown. We'll see where that goes. The tag team division in SmackDown is really good. But don't start giving us repetitive matches over and over and over week after week, because then you start not caring. I don't know. It's a tough one storyline wise with Candice LeRae. We'll see where that goes going forward. Good to see BFAB get some television time as well. Good to see the ladies in something that got me confused, puzzled, and I think that should have been done on Monday, and tonight should have been the match. Was Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Charlotte still coming out with her robe, still with that cocky where people didn't like of her, with the Queens type of gimmick. People want to cheer her, but she still wants to hold on to being that stuck up queen gimmick where people don't want like that go away heat Charlotte, but she's trying to embrace the friendship with Alexa, but not really. It's like, what are we doing? Like back and forth. Like, are you going to stick it or are you going to lick it? That's what I felt with when it comes to Charlotte. And she brought out the doll, and she had her own Charlie doll. With the crowd started getting over. Okay, I said, I smell money, pal, with that ugly doll for Charlotte. Cool. But then they have the cake. It's her birthday. Yada yada. Then Chelsea interrupts. Where Chelsea, this is a tag team. Why are you going to wrestle? I understand because she's the Canadian, get the heat, all that stuff. And then Charlotte says, I'm going to kick your ass. Another gift. I'm going to have a match with Chelsea. But you're tag team champions. It should have been both of you taking on the Harvest. Regardless, they had the match. We all knew what was going to happen. I asked on the chat, who's going to take the cake spot? It was Chelsea. Nothing much to add. Just Chelsea is not going to ask for her release and go become timeless somewhere else because she got cake in her face. She knows the gimmick, she knew the move, she know what the story that was being told, and she did it.
She always does cake spots.
She always does the
first cake spot.
No.
Nothing much to add. Entertaining match. I didn't care for the segment. But Chelsea continues to do the best thing that's given to her. So
she makes the most out of nothing. When is WWE going to respect this woman and start giving her? I know that she was the inaugural United States champion.
You didn't see Unreal?
Yes, I did. That part I did see of her.
You saw with her kind of getting emotional with her being left off War Games. Yeah, I felt really bad for her. And then she ended up becoming the first U.S. champion after that. So it was cool. But
now she had her family in attendance, bro, and she wasn't even on the card.
I know.
She booked like almost 15, 20 tickets. Wasn't even on the card. I was like, ooh. I mean, that's the business they sign up for, And she's done. Has she had a better run that she's been in WWE? Yes, she's one of the most popular athletes in the WWE locker room on SmackDown. Granted, you hear it's Chelsea, everybody stops, regardless of the fact that she's being in a dumpster or garbage thrown on her. Whatever the case is, Chelsea's the good soldier, but it's time for her to get respected and become a face of SmackDown going forward. But that is your review. A lot of stuff came in and out here. A lot of the week in wrestling. Was it a great one? No. Was it a terrible one? It could have been. It could have been because that NXT was not really good. Some people didn't like Dynamite. Here's the thing: WWE sets such a high standard, and when they're asking for more money,
I was going to say, you want to get into your ticket sales right now?
Yes, I was going to get in. I was going to get right into that. It tells you to think it didn't live up to standard. I am an Orlando, Florida resident. SmackDown is coming to Orlando on the 26th or 28th, whatever date it is in September. I was looking for tickets. I was looking at that. Here in Orlando, Florida, WWE, not a lot of people make a lot of money here. The wages here are not competitive. Some people have to live in apartments with multi-families or houses, rent a room, and so forth. For you to charge $1,000 to sit in not even floor seats, the next roll up, just to be because you're going to be on TV for 2 hours, it's a shame on you. I bought a ticket for Chef Dan for Slammiversary. I only charged me $48, $49 to sit on floor seats. Here, that same seat, I looked to see almost $900 or $900. No one making those wages here in Florida, in Orlando. No one that's working here that works here, because a lot of people work here a lot of part-time. They don't give 40 hours. I'm going on a different rant. They don't. They're gonna. I don't know whether people put it on their credit card or payment plans. I don't know how or what. Or some of them are not even from here. They come from outside, like the Trinidad guy, and the green shirt guy. They'll come fly in for that weekend for those tickets. But it's just you're outpricing the everyday guy. TNA doesn't outprice people. Do they charge good premium for those seats? Yes, they do. They're not cheap either, but they're not uber expensive and that's for a PLE. That was for a pay-per-view Slammiversary tickets. When parking costs more than the arena event, there's an issue. You're getting all this billions of dollars from your TV deals. Great, we'll pay. We're going to consume it. Why you're out? And then here's the thing: you are pricing the ticket sales for people to go. Oh, people are buying it. They're buying by the droves. I don't know how. They either the credit card companies are making a fortune with the interest on these people. I don't know what. That's not. People do what they want to do. Spend the money they want. That's their business. But a person who works and wants to show where their money goes and save and bills. You're outpriced me to go. I wanted to go to that SmackDown. I can't. You outpriced me. Too much money. And why am I going? So sit on the upper deck. Why should I sit in the upper deck when I want to work hard and I want to sit there, in a good seat? So I'm going to pay $100 to go sit all the way up there. I'll stay here and watch along and watch it. And if I want to get a soda, I don't have to pay $11 for a can of soda. I'll buy $11. I'll buy a 12-pack and drink it here. Those are the pros and cons with that. You're outpricing. It's the experience. It's a nice experience. It is. Granted, I had the privilege to take my sons to go watch and enjoyed it. When I have grandkids, I'll bring my grandkids to watch it. But you're outpricing us. You're outpricing us, man. Then if you want to buy a souvenir, because I want to buy a souvenir, I would like a T-shirt. They're $10 more than WWEshop.com on the arena. That's a lot of money. $45 for a T-shirt. This here, I'll put something here. I'll put Chelsea's face or something, or I'm gonna put old Geek. $45. It's this plain T-shirt, cotton. I buy a four pack for $10.99 in Amazon. But I'm gonna print something here, and I'm gonna put licensed by the WWE. $45. I know everyone has to make money. We're here to make money. Listen, we know that. But don't outprice us, man. If you're going to charge these tickets and this stuff here, what's $30? How much can you not sell a T-shirt then 25, not 30, not 45? That's sort of things. That's just my rant, man. You're outpricing us.
It's not. You're not the only one, man. It's everybody. I mean, I don't know how a lot of these fans even go to the shows a lot. It's kind of becoming a hard thing for pro wrestling. I think in all sports as well, but really pro wrestling. It's like take a family. Like you don't really see many, like you do, but like at WWE shows, like obviously like a father's gonna take their kid, like whatever, but like you don't see like a mom and dad and like their two kids. It's so expensive. People are like choosing, hey, do you want to go with dad? Do you want to go like whatever? Like you can't really do that anymore. And it's like when we went to Slammiversary and we saw this family outside trying to buy tickets, and it's like they probably were affordable. He probably got he was probably like 4 kids with him and his wife. He probably got those 4 tickets, 200 maybe.
Probably, if with fees and taxes, probably 175. Like, they weren't expensive.
They weren't expensive.
Not expensive.
No, so he probably got like 5 tickets for his family for like what, $200 plus the fee, with fees included, all that, if that. So it's like
they were fair.
They were fair, and that's what I talk about with like even All Elite Wrestling. Their prices are fair. I was looking at their Philadelphia 203 arena, really fair. So it's a tough one. Obviously, WWE is this global juggernaut, but they're making money from everything. All these deals, all these meet and greets. Like you charge somebody $300 for 5 seconds with Cena. Like, or you charged somebody $300 for 15 seconds with Joe Hendry when I literally just met him at a baseball field and I got to talk to him however long he let me. And we took a free picture. He didn't charge me anything for a picture. I said, "Hey man, I get of course." It was that simple. Like, I don't. They make it so hard. WWE's trying to make it hard, and all these like Fanatic Fest worlds, like they're making it a little harder for families to kind of enjoy the WWE experience, because the WWE experience now just isn't Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown anymore, right? It's WWE World, all these WrestleCons, all these signings, and people want to go to that too and go to the show. There, when people might have to pick and choose. So, your rant was needed.
And we still support the product. Don't get me wrong. We'll still support it. We're still going to watch it and support it because we content create. Not only that, I enjoy wrestling, regardless of the fact. Mm-hmm. But you don't expect me to be there in a live event. I'm gonna be part of their live experience because it's too expensive. It's just too expensive. I'd rather have my air conditioner on, my lights on,
yep, my
power, my internet to work, my running water. And if I have money for wrestling, and which it's not, then it is what it is. I have, at least for me, for my household. Some people have it made better. Some people have priorities different. I don't know. It's just, and I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but for me, you price me out. You price me out. Unfortunately, you priced me out. Even in the state of Florida, you priced me out. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I want to be there. I want to support it. I want our channel to grow. Sometimes I want to pay a ticket. I just want to go. I got credentials. I'm going to go and then go credentials. Sometimes I want to pay. It's a pride thing. I work my ass off. I want to be able to buy my ticket, enjoy. I don't want it for handouts. I don't. I want to be able to go and watch the program out of my pocket and report it the way I want it. What I saw. If someone gives you a handout, you can't. You don't want to be disrespectful and crap on the product when they invited you and you were their guest. It doesn't mean you're going to want to just crap on it. No, if something went bad, I want to be able to be honest and tell you. I'm going to be honest anyway, regardless. But when you got a handout, you got to kind of like, I don't want to be disrespectful because you gave me a free ticket to watch there. Listen, that anniversary wasn't cheap. We were invited by TNA, but the cost to get there, the food, the tolls, we had to make a decision. We couldn't go to the respect card, not because we didn't want to. We couldn't afford it. And if the promoter got upset with us because we told them we were going, we didn't go. Sorry, Ray Sanchez, we couldn't go because it was expensive. The tolls were $22 to go to New Jersey from Long Island. Your venue was $34. We were going to pay to go to the venue for your tickets to go there, and that would have been 34 times 3 plus the tolls plus the gas. I couldn't afford it. Plain and simple. And TNA asked us to go watch the softball game. Hey, you guys are coming? We were asked. Now, if you were upset about it, I'm going to have to tell you on air because it seems like you've been throwing some jabs our way for not going. We're sorry, man. Respect the card. We wanted to meet all your independent wrestlers, all the ones that interview with us, but we couldn't afford it. Ever thought about that before taking jabs or slings and arrows? We couldn't afford it. We could not afford it. It was just not in our cards. That trip was expensive. $50 parking, airline tickets, gasoline, food, entertainment, and then on top, it would have been a luxury to go meet you guys at the independent scene. We had to make some adjustments. It is what it is. That's the real world.
Got to do it.
With that said, guys, I wanted
our brand at the end of the day. That it's nothing personal, but I've seen this. I've seen it. There's if tag somebody next time if you have something to say. But we did what was best for our brand, and you would do the same. So, thank you guys for watching.
Exactly.
I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Thank you guys. Thank you for this afternoon with us, and we appreciate everyone. We thank you so much. Don't forget to like, follow us, subscribe to Sports Jedi Network here on the YouTube platform, or follow us on our social at PGH Chris TV on X, at Sports Jedi Media on X. Don't forget www.sportsjedinetwork.com to our website. Email us, so forth. We're trying to line up some great interviews coming up for some more independent wrestlers and some more professional wrestlers throughout our channel. Stay tuned. That's why you hit that notification bell. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon, and we appreciate it. Thank you for all the love and all the respect. Que Dios lo bendiga. May the sports be with you guys.